San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? And a happy Monday to everybody out there in America's finest city. It's either very foggy where you're at, or there's not a cloud in the sky. That's basically what I've experienced this morning. Waking up in Scripps Ranch this morning, not a single cloud in the sky. As soon as I got to the 15 freeway on Pomerado Road, bang, blanket of fog.
Yep.
Blanket of fog. And that was the case on Friday during our high school football game I was coaching in. I couldn't even see the other sideline.
I saw that. I saw highlights from that. That was insane.
I could not see the other side of the field. It looked like we were playing on a half field. And most people at the game didn't even get to see one snap of the game. They said unless it was on our sideline, no idea what was going on in the contest. No idea what was happening in the game. And that was Friday was the only day that they had the nasty fog. Saturday was like crystal clear to watch De La Salle play Santa Margarita. We'll talk about that later on. But I mean, the fog was rough. And this is the time where fogs, starts getting brutal for everybody that's traveling out of town and you're coming back to San Diego at some point during December. Make sure you get your flights earlier in the day. I've been the victim of this twice now, where it becomes too foggy and they try to go backwards. They try to land backwards at Lindbergh Field. What I mean by backwards is instead of taking off towards the west, you're now landing from the west.
Yeah, instead of landing on 27, going over the city, you're taking off, headed towards the city.
I have been diverted to Los Angeles twice, late at night. And I'm going to tell you right now, they don't help you get back to San Diego. You're on your own, and it's miserable. So, key warning. Try to get back sooner than the last flight to San Diego because of the fog that we start to get here in town. Frank made it back safely from Army Navy, which is great.
Apparently. By the way, how about us trying out this novel idea of broadcasting from the same place at the same time?
That's great.
How about that?
It's a great time. On the same time zone. Didn't have to do that too many times. We only did it twice. It's good to have you back. We're going to talk about the Army Navy game and his experience in just a little bit as well. But as we take in, we're going to get to a lot of Padres news. I mean, there's a lot of rumors of the Padres and the Mets. Couldn't listen to two better guys for Padres and Mets talk. Are you kidding me?
I know, right?
Might as well just make the trade ourselves. We'll pass it along to Cohen and Preller. Hey, we figured it out for you. Here you go.
we got it for you. Don't worry.
We'll keep you posted on all of that news, but we're going to talk about that very early in the show as well. But I was talking to Frank about this off air as we were coming into the studio, and we briefly discussed it with Ben Higgins and Woods and Paul about what was yesterday. And honestly, I think the biggest thing of the entire weekend sports-wise for me was watching Phillip Rivers play quarterback in the NFL again. And I know it wasn't for anybody in San Diego, right? It was for the Indianapolis Colts. He went back to the Colts, and that was the whole thing. And everybody was like on the edge of their seat of whether or not Phillip Rivers could even make it through the game. Guy's 44. And he did a great job for not playing since 2020, for showing up and getting your first practice on like Tuesday, and playing arguably one of the best defenses in the National Football League in the Seattle Seahawks on the road in a tough environment to play. And Phillip Rivers, I would say, delivered to an extent. I mean, they lost the game. He ends up throwing a pick at the end. The ball was tipped. Not really much you could do about that or really blame him for. If you want to look at his overall stats, I mean, I think he had like 121 yards passing, which is okay. It's not very good. But at the same time, he showed a lot. It's a nice story of inspiration. Anybody see the video of the high school he coaches, St. Michael's, doing the watch party for the Colts game, watching their head football coach play quarterback in the National Football League? Crazy. So much fun to watch. Phillip was 18 for 27, 120 and a touchdown. Had that pick late. Only took 1 sack. But I'm going to tell you right now, I was telling Frank, I had USD women's basketball yesterday at 2 o'clock. So I missed most of the game between the Colts and the Seahawks. The game ended, and the game went pretty quickly. So USD ended up beating UC Riverside. I get in my car. I got 97.3 The Fan on, and on Sundays we have this NFL show that goes the entire time. And during that NFL show, they were giving updates on the Colts game. And it was, can the Seattle Seahawks win by just kicking field goals? They just took the lead. It's 15-13 with whatever to go. And I'm like, all right, I got to pull this thing up on my phone. And so I pulled up Red Zone on my phone, patched it into my car so I can listen. And right as I tune in, I forget who was doing the game for CBS, whatever it was. They go, and Phillip Rivers, who had just come back from retirement, age 44, has 2 minutes to try to lead a drive for the Indianapolis Colts to potentially win this game.
The television broadcasters were Andrew Catalone, Chris Davis, and Jason McCourty.
Right. I remember McCourty's voice for sure.
506sports.com.
So Catalon had said that. And I'm listening, and Phillip is just more. But again, it was red zone, so the game was flipping to the red zone was flipping to other games as they were all coming down to the wire. I mean, Saints and New Orleans and Carolina went down to the wire. I mean, there's a lot of good games yesterday in the NFL, and it was like vintage Phillip Rivers just trying to lead a drive down the field to potentially win the game. I told Frank that was the most locked in I had been to an NFL game in which I had a rooting interest like it was my own team, listening on the radio for the first time since the Chargers left. That's the level of excitement. That's the level of live and die I was going through listening to that game on the way home. It was cool to see. Cool to listen to. And what an inspirational story. And now I find myself in a position of rooting for the Colts the rest of the way. And they're in a tough spot right now at 8-6 trying to make the postseason. I don't know if it's going to come down to potentially the Colts and the Chargers for some playoff spots. And I could probably pull up the playoff machine and start diddling with that. But I thought it was funny on a couple of things. I mean, you had a lot of San Diegans rooting for Phillip Rivers, and you had the infighting of the Charger fans that were like the diehard Charger fans that needed a Colts loss to make it better for them in terms of seeding for the playoffs. And then you had the San Diego Charger fans that were just locked into hoping Phillip Rivers went out there and played a phenomenal game. So we'll see what Phillip Rivers has up his sleeve for the next couple of weeks. I mean, here's how this thing finishes out. You got the Dolphins and the Steelers tonight. Anybody see Miami, by the way? Miami went and they got into Pittsburgh late on Friday. They practiced out of high school in the snow. Try to get some prep work for the Steelers and playing in the snow. The Dolphins are a little bit of a resurgence here. But with 3 weeks to go, the Chargers have the Cowboys, who are now eliminated from the playoffs, so that game becomes easier. The Houston Texans and the Denver Broncos. The Indianapolis Colts have San Francisco at home, Jacksonville at home, and at Houston. Those are some pretty big games for both Indianapolis and the Chargers down the stretch. And some tough teams to beat. I mean, the AFC is loaded right now. The AFC is loaded right now. And it's going to be a wild finish. But the Chargers aren't out of the woods yet. The Colts aren't out of the woods yet. I mean, they're not even in a playoff spot right now. The Texans look like one of the best teams in the AFC right now. I mean, if Phillip Rivers can get the Colts to the playoffs with the schedule they have and coming out of retirement at age 44, there is, without a question, there's no doubt in my mind he's a Hall of Famer. It shouldn't even be a debate. This guy is so good. He came in and almost there were what was the spread in that game? Was it like 14 points, Frank?
Yeah, it was something ridiculous.
Like 13
it was like
and a half?
13 and a half, yeah.
And if it wasn't for the NFL having dumb kickoff rules, the Colts probably win that game. I mean, they kicked a go-ahead field goal with 45 seconds to go? Something like that. It's a 13.5-point spread. Phillip Rivers, who is, you could say everything you want about him staying in shape and him still throwing. It's been 5 years since he played in the NFL. He spent 5 years not playing in the NFL at all. And he goes out there and almost beats one of the best teams in the NFC. In fact, Seattle has a really good chance of being the number 1 seed in the NFC playoffs. They're right there with Los Angeles. And if they beat the Rams on Thursday, they will have the number 1 seed in the NFC. And Phillip Rivers almost went in there and beat them on the road without any type of prep and a 14-point dog. You want to know? You want to find out? You want to ask the question, is Phillip Rivers a Hall of Famer? He answered it on Sunday. Give me a break. Now, he's got to deal with the Niners on Monday next week. He's got to deal with the Jags, who've looked pretty good throughout the season at 10-4, and now he's got to deal with the Houston Texans on the road. I mean, it's going to be a tough battle. I don't think the Colts are going to make the playoffs. I really don't. But I'm going to tell you right now, for San Diego, you want to root for a team, root for Phillip Rivers and the Indianapolis Colts. It would be even better. This would be the best, and I don't think it's even possible. And I'll mess around with the playoff machine to try to see. I think it'd be great if Indianapolis goes on a run and knocks the Chargers out of a playoff spot. In fact, I'm rooting for that. Chargers got to deal with the Broncos. They got to deal with the I mean, who knows? They'll probably beat the Cowboys now after last night. Texans are no slouch. But I thought that was the coolest thing I saw all weekend in sports. And there was a lot of cool things in sports. The other cool thing, Army-Navy. We'll get in a recap of what Frank did. Plus, more news about Padres and Mets potentially discussing a trade. Didn't sound like Lindor or Fernando Tatis are involved. We'll keep you updated on that when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number 1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. August at 97 to the Fan. Join us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorney, is helping good people regain control of their future, win charge of the crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. Frank Marchese is back, and we're going to talk some more Mets and Padres rumors in just a little bit. But I do want to get his reaction and recap from this weekend at Army-Navy. And what a great environment it is. I saw your tweet yesterday. I thought it was great. And to me, in my trips to Army-Navy, the first time I went was the one that kind of wooed me into, I have to watch this game every single time. I was a person that was like, oh, cool, Army-Navy, bucket list. I can say I've been there, to this is one of the coolest sporting events I have ever been a part of, and I can't explain why, except for the fact that being there shows me why. So for you, Frank, what was your experience like being at Army-Navy with the game, with the media row, and everything that was a part of that trip?
Well, first of all, we both have. Well, I have proof that I was there. Braden, you got yours, and as you said, they actually spelled your name right, which was
always a massive plus.
Massive plus for you. But yeah, I was very much like you. I knew that Army-Navy was special, but I didn't fully understand why. And you said it right. It's not the game that's special. It's the sporting event that is what makes Army-Navy special. That the game was great. It was fantastic. Both teams scoring on the first drive, Army going 16 unanswered, and then that unbelievable 4th and 8 play with 6 minutes to go to get the win for Navy. It was unbelievable. It was just an incredible night. But it had nothing to do with the game. It was all so many servicemen and women who were there all week from all different ranks and levels of the Army and Navy. The incredible people that we got to talk to at Media Row and the inspirational stories that we heard from them, which are all up on podcast now. If you want to go back and listen to it, it's also on our YouTube page. But that is what makes Army-Navy what it is. And it is something that you don't fully understand. You don't fully get the pageantry of what that game is unless you go there. It doesn't come across, it comes across on TV, but it doesn't come across great on TV. Being there is certainly one thing. It is certainly a completely different thing. For me, the march on, I got it right?
That would be the first time that you've gotten that correct.
Sorry for every wrong time I said it. Being on the rope for march on was special. I've kind of been through that before. My brother being a Marine, seeing him do his march on for graduation was somewhat close to it. I told you off air, it was great being on the field for that, but you don't really get the scale of just how many people are there. 36 companies, 4,000 people, and you're seeing just a wall of people, and you don't really get to see the scope of humanity that's actually on the field. I kind of wish I was in the press box for that, just so I could get that full picture of it. And it's because of that is why I didn't go on the field for the end of the game. It's because I wanted to see everything. It's one thing to be a part of it, but to see it is something completely different. And that's what I wanted to take away from the end of the game, at least. But that is something that, again, thank you. Christian Bove was the guy that we were in contact with at USAA. I want to thank him for allowing us to go out there for this. I want to thank USAA for putting on just an absolutely insane insane weekend. One that I will never forget for a multitude of reasons, not all of them for the Army-Navy weekend. But that's something that I would go back to again and again and again, as long as if we get the ability to do it next year and go to New York next year, I would be all over in a heartbeat. It's an event that, if given the option, I would never miss again.
I got a lot of text on Friday about how great it was, how much people enjoyed our show, getting to learn about a lot of people they would never learn about with all the guests that we had. So it was I thought Friday show was one of the most fun that we've had.
Absolutely.
I fooled a lot of people too. There's a lot of people that thought I made it to Baltimore. I don't know how many texts I got about that. And I fooled a lot of people too. We lost on Friday. And one of our coaches posted the week before, kind of a tribute to the season and all these pictures of us holding trophies for all the games that we did win. So we were like, "Oh, you guys won." I'm like, "No, we did not. We didn't win on Friday." I did convince a lot. They're like, "Oh, you made it." And I'm like, "Made it from where?" Baltimore. I'm like, "I never made it to Baltimore. Thanks for listening to the show. Appreciate it." A lot of people got segments of it though too, from Ben and Woods, and they would tune into our show a little bit. They didn't get the full story. I mean, I had to tell that story probably 1,000 times.
Oh, so did I over the weekend, because there were so many people at Radio Row that were confused as to why the producer was there and not the host.
Exactly.
The guy whose name is on the banner is not here.
Yeah. Are you Braden? No, I'm Frank. Where's the Braden character? Oh, he's in San Diego right now.
Yeah, he had his own issues.
Yeah, but it was fun all the way around. It seemed like. Did you enjoy the dinners and everything like that?
Yes,
too?
The dinners were very, very nice. Very, very fancy places that we went to throughout Baltimore. I told you coming up the elevator here today, I wish I was coming back today, because there was so much stuff around the Inner Harbor in Baltimore that I really wanted to take a look at. The USS Constellation is there. The lightship Chesapeake is there. There's a Coast Guard ship that's there that was actually a converted destroyer that was the last ship out of Pearl Harbor before, and went through its service and then got converted to a Coast Guard ship, and then is now in the Inner Harbor. There's an aquarium there. They have the Baltimore World Trade Center with an actual piece of the exoskeleton from the World Trade Center is out there. Found all of this walking to the UPS store to ship our stuff.
All the free stuff they give you?
Yes, because I was not expecting
that. They give you tons of free stuff.
Yeah, that would have been really nice. That would have been a nice heads up.
Yep.
Did I bring Braden back his football? It is on a UPS tracking system right now, as a matter of fact. But yeah, I would have loved to have walked around the Inner Harbor area of Baltimore at least a little bit more.
Are the Padres playing in Baltimore this year?
No, the Padres are not in Baltimore this year.
Baltimore's here?
Yeah, Baltimore is here. The Mets are going to Baltimore.
There you go. Find a way to get back to Baltimore.
Which is going to be interesting.
Maybe the Ravens will make the playoffs, and you can just find a way to go watch their playoff game.
But it was really cool to see outside my window the long brick building that is the backdrop for Camden Yards, and then just slightly off to the left, M&T Bank Stadium. So that was really cool.
And Pete Alonso was there to be introduced as a Baltimore Oriole.
Yeah, right.
That's pretty awesome.
Right while we were doing Radio Row is when that was happening.
Hey, Birdland.
So yeah, exactly. It's just,
hey, Birdland.
I thought the Orioles came here last year.
Did they?
I thought they did.
Because I know Nick went.
He went to Baltimore.
Oh no, the Padres are going to Baltimore.
There you go.
I'm sorry.
Make it worth your while.
Yeah, the Padres are going.
Is
to
that
Baltimore.
A weekend or a week?
No, it's a weekend in June. It's the second weekend in June.
There you go.
Is when they're going.
I was going to say that's what I thought. Speaking of Pete Alonso, and I guess the Mets, since he's a former Met.
Thanks.
There are links to a potential Padres-Mets trade that kind of surfaced over the weekend. Who really needs to make that trade more right now? The New York Mets or the San Diego Padres? We're going to talk about this when we come back and get you everything you need to know about what the Padres are currently working on behind the scenes to improve this roster. Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Summer Sports Station, 97 through the Fan. This hour 97 through the Fan is brought to you by Mission Fed. From first accounts to big life moments, Mission Fed can help. Saving shouldn't be stressful. Mission Fed makes it easier with great rates on savings certificates and ultra money market accounts. Grow your money the smart way. Check the latest rates and open an account at missionfed.com. Membership and account criteria apply. Let's get to some of the baseball news from over the weekend. Before we do that, for everybody that tuned in on Friday and heard John Flint on with us talking about their St. Jude Radiothon at KSON, we wanted to pass along what they were able to accomplish on Friday. And Frank got the report from KSON, and they did a phenomenal job of raising money for St. Jude.
Yes, it was the most money that they have ever raised since they've been here in San Diego. So they raised 320. Okay, now there's conflicting numbers here because the headline of the email says one number and the email says a different one. They either raised $324,908 or $328,908. One of the two they raised, which is an insane amount of money.
The title of the email says 324, but it says 3. It's probably a typo. We're going to go with 328,000.
No, I know it's a typo. I just don't know which one is the typo because it's not in the email.
We're going to go with the one in the email. Over 2 days, we raised $328,908. The most John and Tammy have raised since they've been in San Diego. Couldn't have done it without every single one of all of you guys out there, but including everybody that came in the finale. I mean, at the point where John was on the radio with us, they had $128,000.
Wow.
So they
Good
got
job,
$200,000. I mean, it's not all from us, but still, they had until 7 o'clock at night because he was going to go until 7 o'clock. We had him on at 11:30. So in those 8 hours or so, they raised an additional $200,000.
That's unbelievable.
What a great job to everybody there at the station at KSON. Big round of applause to John and Tammy. It's very impressive.
100%.
Impacting many lives.
We got to do our own radiothon here with us.
You like to sign us up to do a lot of stuff.
No, I mean, like all of us. Not.
I always wonder how those radiothons work now. Like people call in and donate money, right? Is that the deal?
Seems to be it. Yeah.
People still call phones. I guess we
all just designate a day to jump in on the St. Jude's thing. See how much money the entire network of stations here can raise.
So we wanted to get you that update. Let's get to some of the other updates from the weekend when it comes to the Padres. Wasn't going to be very long before we talked Padres today. Now, when we were talking about the winter meetings, there was some smoke to the potential fire of a Mets-Padres trade. And in an article from The Athletic, that was written by Ken Rosenthal, Dennis Lin, and Will Salmon, they laid out that if there are two teams whose offseason needs to align almost perfectly, it's the New York Mets and the San Diego Padres, and league sources confirm they're actively talking. Why did the Padres and the Mets fit as trade partners? Mets' problem is they lost Pete Alonso, Edwin Diaz, bullpen's been gutted, and they need a starter and power bats now. The Padres' problem, they have a tight payroll, rotation uncertainty, and need controllable pitching and prospects to stay competitive. Neither side, now this is what's interesting because everything about the reports that we ran, remember we had the clip on Friday?
That you heard?
Yeah, you didn't hear it. Steve Phillips was talking about Lindor to the Padres.
Yes.
Neither side is discussing their franchise stars, which means Fernando Tatis Jr., not available. Francisco Lindor, not available. The Mets still have to deal with the problem of Lindor and Soto. I don't think that's going to lead to Lindor potentially being traded. Be sweet if he did, but at the same time, I just don't think it is very likely. But aside from those two, everything else seems like it's pretty much in play. According to this article, players that have been discussed on the Padres side: Nick Pivetta, who is a short-term rotation help for the Mets. owed $19 million in 2026 with an opt-out. Trading him only makes sense, though, if San Diego can flip the savings into multiple controllable arms. Now, in terms of the savings, Merrill Kelly signed today or this weekend a 2-year, $40 million contract. Like, Merrill Kelly's good. Merrill Kelly's not great. And if Merrill Kelly's getting $20 million a year, I don't know how much you're getting savings-wise out of Nick Pivetta to get multiple pitchers. It's not like Nick Pavetta's getting paid the equivalent of what like 3 or 4 guys are going to get paid to fill out your rotation. I'd much rather have Nick Pivetta than a guy like Merrill Kelly for the same price. And that's essentially what Merrill Kelly got, a 2-year, $20 million a year deal. So, again, it only makes sense if they can get a haul back that they can then flip for other starting pitchers. Ramon Laureano was discussed for the New York Mets. San Diego Padre discussed in the conversations. He's owed $6.5 million for 1 year. Not a lot of money. Right-handed bat in a scarce market. Can play center or corner outfield. Very comparable value. Suggests a strong return even if a standalone deal. The last 3 names that were mentioned, Mason Miller, Adrian Morejon, Jeremiah Estrada. Miller is obviously the crown jewel of this group. Mets tried to acquire him at the deadline when he was with Sacramento, Oaklamento, the Athletics, whatever you want to call them. So that's who's being discussed on the Padres side. Now, the Mets side, you're looking at young Major League Baseball pitchers. Nolan McLean, considered close to untouchable. Brandon Sprout. Jonah Tong. Jonathan Pintaro, who's quietly gaining some interest. Other position prospects that were listed for the New York Mets, Carson Bange? Jet Williams. Mets rebuilt their farm system over the last couple of seasons. It's what gives them leverage and what Preller wants. As I look at that, I can't imagine if they decide to make a deal. Now, these are just names being floated out there. I don't see the Padres hanging on to a lot of those players. I can see those players getting shipped elsewhere to bring back Major League talent. Some of the young MLB pitchers might stay, but other position prospects, I don't see that being the case for them. But here's the deal. Like, if you trade a Ramon Laureano, you got to go find another outfielder to fill the outfield out. If you trade Nick Pivetta, you got to get prospects back where you can flip for starting pitching. You trade Adrian Morejon, Jeremiah Estrada, Mason Miller, all 3, you're going to need a lot of help to try to start filling in some of the gaps. I understand this side of the deal, but at the same time, I feel like it's going to be very difficult to line up, but we'll see what AJ Preller has up his sleeves.
Yeah, this is, I didn't believe a Padre Met link at first, but now the more and more you're hearing about it, because now you're continuing to hear stuff about the Padres and Mets being together on a possible trade, and now you're hearing different names coming into this now, and the names that you're seeing going one way or the other are becoming more and more realistic. I believe now more than ever that a deal will get done between these two teams. And for the Padres, if the Padres get a Jet Williams back in return, he's not playing he's not playing a single game for the Padres. If you get a Jonah Tong back, if you get a Brandon Sproat back, there's a good chance that they do not play because it'll be a Drew Thorpe situation. They will come in and they will get flipped for somebody else. And the problem for a lot of the young players that the Mets have, like a Jet Williams, like a Ronnie Mauricio, like a Brett Beatty, like a Mark Vientos, is that these are all guys that are stuck behind someone else. Jet Williams is stuck behind Lindor and now Simeon and Polanco. Kyle Clifford, who the Mets got for either Scherzer or Verlander a couple of years ago, is stuck behind Polanco, who the Mets are saying they want him to play first base now. they don't have a solid third baseman. Ronnie Mauricio, the Mets have had in their system for 6-7 years, and he's finally coming to an age where he can play every single day, and he's in the same position that Jet Williams is in. He's in the same position that Luis Angel Acuna is in. If the Padres traded for Luis Angel Acuna, you could probably stick him in left field, and he will be your 8 or 9 hitter every single day right now, and you will be very, very happy with him. You will be incredibly happy with a bat like Luis Angel Acuna at the back end of your lineup right now. I don't see it makes sense for what the Mets have to give up, especially here with what AJ Preller likes to do with prospects. It makes sense for them to come here, and it also makes sense to send to New York what that would require to get sent. So I believe now more than ever that a Padre Met deal is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
To me, the only way that Mason Miller gets traded, if you're the Padres, is if you bring back the Nolan McLeans of the world.
That's where you would have to get Jonah Tong and Brandon Sproat, because I don't think the Mets are going to give up Nolan McLean.
Right, and I don't think the Padres should give up Mason Miller. I mean, that's just the if you want a guy like Mason Miller who's under control by the same time,
they're going to overpay. The Mets have a lot of top 100 prospects. They got a lot of top 50 prospects.
The Padres need starting pitching that they can control for a long period of time,
and that's what Jonah Tong and Brandon Sproat are. And their contracts kicked in already. You'll have 5 years of control on Tong and Sproat and McLean, for that matter, because they all did play at the end of last year. And Sproat was...
McLean is a free agent in 2032.
Yeah.
Sproat and who was the other name you had? Tong. They're not even on the list for...
They both came up at the end of last year.
They're not even on the Fangraphs list for contracts to the major league team. So they'll probably have a lot more years as well. But my thing is if you're going to give up the best bullpen arm in the game and the one that everybody wants, you need to get the best starting pitcher prospect in return.
Yeah, which is fair.
So that's McLean. And if the Mets don't want to give up McLean, then I'm not interested in trading Mason Miller. I'll trade away some other players. I think Adrian Morejon can get you a Tong or a Sprout, not both.
No, I'm not gonna argue that. I'm not gonna fight that. I'm just saying I don't know. I don't know if the Mets would be willing to do that. I think the Mets would be willing to give up 2 or 3 extra prospects, along with. I can see them giving up Tong, Sproat, Williams, possibly Acuna or Mauricio, and Beatty or Vientos for Mason Miller and possibly a Ramon Laureano. I can see them overpaying in prospect capital in order to get Mason Miller instead of just biting the bullet and giving McLean.
They have to overpay.
Oh, 100%.
For those guys,
yes.
Because if the Padres had to give up their number one prospect and one of the top 5 prospects in all of baseball for Mason Miller, the New York Mets have to give up Nolan McLean if they want Mason Miller. Or they're going to have to give up like half their farm system.
Yes.
And that's the only way that would make sense for the Padres without their fan base going absolutely bonkers.
And the problem, I think, is right now for the Mets, for the Met fan base who's seeing all of this, and of course this is the Met fan base, you would want a Mason Miller, you would want a Ramon Laureano. But the question would be, you hugged these prospects for years now. Why all of a sudden now is it the time to go and get them when they're coming of age and you're wanting to see what all of this time and all of this investment is going to pay off in? Because you could have done this years ago. You've had your chances to trade these guys, and now you're going to trade them in an offseason when it looks like the franchise is in a tailspin. You've lost Edwin Diaz. You've lost Pete Alonso over the course of 24 hours. And now you're talking about gutting the entire prospect pool when you could have done that years ago when you had a much better chance at winning. that is from a Met fan perspective. Yes, it's great to get a Mason Miller, but why now? Why are we not prospect hugging anymore?
There might be a little bit of panic since they didn't get Alonso and they didn't bring back Diaz, and they're starting to feel the heat a little bit.
You didn't, but those are self-inflicted wounds. Those are completely self-inflicted wounds. They did not offer Alonso a contract once they heard how much Baltimore was willing to pay. They offered $3 million less, $1 million per year less than the Dodgers. Those are all self-inflicted wounds. Those things didn't have to happen.
Do you think people in their front office are going to take responsibility for that?
God, no.
No.
I don't expect anyone in any front office to.
They're not gonna sit there and be self-inflicted wounds. They're gonna be like, well, we couldn't afford. Well. I mean, that's just kind of how they operate to their fan base. Why?
This is the same team that called Daniel Murphy a net negative after he hit a home run off of future Hall of Famer after future Hall of Famer in 5 straight playoff games.
It makes what makes this thing complicated for San Diego is, as outlined in the article, the Padres rotation outlook makes it complicated because Pivetta is one of the carrots that they dangle, but you're not going to have Dylan Cease. He's gone. Michael King, as we got the report over the weekend, most likely not coming back here. Sounds like his finalists are Baltimore, Boston, and the New York Yankees. Yu Darvish is out for all of 2026. Joe Musgrove is returning from Tommy John, and Randy Vasquez underlying metrics scream regression next year, but we'll see how that goes out. Trading Pivetta worsens the immediate rotation unless Preller uses the return to build the depth quickly. Now, payroll reality for the Padres. Fangraphs project the Padres at $201 million. There's obviously some ownership uncertainty, the lawsuit, opening day payroll expect to not be far above the $201 million, which means you don't have a lot to spend. And based on what Merrill Kelly just got, it's not likely that they're going to go out there and get starting pitching on the free agent market. Like everybody is like, oh, just do this, sign a pitcher, and we'll be good to go. Signing a pitcher is like your biggest problem. They're expensive. The only way this team fills out a rotation is by using young arms that they have, which are super far away, or they trade for it. And we've gone back to this conversation multiple times. We've had this conversation multiple times. Even with new information, the conversation remains the same. If the Padres are going to improve their starting rotation, they're going to have to make a trade or 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 this offseason. And the only thing that's valuable right now for the Padres in terms of trades are, and we've already been over these players before, but the ones that were listed in this article, Mason Miller, Adrian Morejon, Jeremiah Estrada, Ramon Laureano, Nick Pivetta, and the other names that weren't mentioned, guys like Fernando, who they're not going to trade, so you can cross them off the list, Jake Cronenworth, and that's about it. I mean, there's not like a whole lot of valuable assets that the Padres can trade away without creating another monster hole.
And that's why a trade with the Mets would make it easier for the Padres to make other moves like that, because you can get a Ronnie Mauricio from the Mets. You can get a Luis Angel Acuna from the Mets, which is, there you go. There's your replacement for Jake Cronenworth at second base if you decide to trade Jake Cronenworth, or if you decide to move him back to first base because you can't get a first baseman in free agency or a trade. There are many reasons why a trade with the Mets makes a lot of sense. For Lindor, it didn't. But for the names that we're hearing now as these conversations are evolving, it's making a hell of a lot more sense for the Padres and Mets to do a deal.
I think it's going to be lower level players, though. I think it's going to be like Laureano, Estrada, Morejon would be like the best player in the deal, because to me, the only way that you can give up Mason Miller, if you're of the Padres, is if you get a young, controllable starter that's going to turn into Tarek Skubal.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. In my opinion. Like, I can ask the question, and maybe we answer this when we come back. The Padres have been dangling Mason Miller. I just think they dangle him as a carrot to see what teams are willing to give up. And if they give up something, an enormous amount that is stupid, A.J. Preller is going to strike like he does with a lot of different potential trades. And here's the other thing, too. Like, I would say Preller has gotten the better of Stearns in their 2 trades. The 2 trades he has made with Stearns.
In Milwaukee.
The Grisham Davies deal and the Josh Hader blockbuster.
Yes.
Both of those worked out very favorable for the Padres. But my question to fans is, and my question to you, and maybe I'll answer this question. What does the player have to turn into for you to be able to give up Mason Miller? How many of those players would you need? It's going to be very difficult to probably put that price tag. We'll talk about that in the 11 o'clock hour. Remember to listen at 1 o'clock for us to announce today's biggest fan for a chance to qualify for a night in our Odyssey suite at a future Padres game with all the fan staff. Register your name at 97throughthefansd.com/biggest fan in order to potentially have your name called. 1 o'clock today. We will be on it. That's 2 hours from now. Now, we got into some of the conversation about the Padres and the Mets trying to align. I think there's a lot of pieces that align here for both the Padres and the Mets. I mean, the Padres need young, controllable arms. The Mets have that. The Mets need bullpen help. The Padres have that. The Mets also need a right-handed bat. Padres have some of those. So there are some stipulations, or should I say, there are some consistencies with needs and plethora of whatever assets. And so with that, it leads to a lot of questions of, I mean, this is why these two teams are discussing contracts.
They signed him.
Why they're discussing potential trades coming up. I look at this and some of the players that were named, we mentioned it before in the article in The Athletic, that these two teams are discussing. It's names like Mason Miller and Jeremiah Estrada and guys like Adrian Morejon, Nick Pivetta, Ramon Laureano. All of those names had been discussed. Not to say it's always going to be a blockbuster trade, but those are the names that were discussed. It was confirmed that Fernando and Francisco were both not being discussed. As for the Mets, it was guys like Brandon Sprout, Jonah Tong, Jonathan Pintaro, some young MLB pitchers. Nolan McLean apparently is close to untouchable. And then a couple of position prospects, Jet Williams and Carson Bench. My thought process on this is if I'm giving up major league talent, I need to get some type of major league talent back because that's what I'm trying to improve on right now. The other thought process is in any trade in which I decide to part ways with Mason Miller, I need to get the number one prospect back, especially in an area of need that I have. And the number one prospect for the Mets is a right-handed starting pitcher in Nolan McLean. If the Mets don't want to trade Nolan McLean, which is fine, because that's a guy that you would want to keep in your organization, then you don't get Mason Miller. It's just pretty simple on that.
Well, I have an option here. I've been crunching the numbers, and you've heard most of this, but there was one thing I added to this that I think that might make your ears perk up. So, the Mets would get Mason Miller and Ramon Laureano for Jonah Tong, who is the Mets' number 4 prospect, Brandon Sproat, who is the Mets' number 5, Jet Williams, who is the Mets' number 3. So you get 3 of the Mets' top 5 prospects. Your pick of Ronnie Mauricio or Luis Angel Acuna, who both do the same thing. They're both middle infielders who can play in the outfield if you really need them to. Mark Vientos, who has power, can play both corner infield spots, and for a team that is looking for a first baseman, Vientos has value. And you said no to that.
I did.
Which is fair. What if I also gave you your pick of Kodai Senga or David Peterson?
Out.
Really? Even with a top line, those are 2 top line starters.
Young, controllable pitching.
And that's what you have with Jonah Tong and Brandon Sproat. They both made their debuts last year. They could fit in the rotation this year.
I need young, controllable pitching.
You will have them for all 6 years.
And I need to not spend a ton of money. Kodai Singh is getting $15 million.
David Peterson's not getting.
He's getting 7.6, which is not the worst.
And he's a lefty, which is something that the Mets do, which is something that the Padres do not have, is left-handed starting pitching.
I'm out.
Okay.
I need McLean. I mean, that's the only way that you get Mason Miller in this hypothetical world. And we don't know what the Padres and Mets are discussing. I mean, maybe AJ Preller's not as harsh. To me, if you're the Padres, the only way you give up Mason Miller is if you get McLean. And you know what? That's what the A's did. The A's said the only way you get Mason Miller is if you give us Leo DeVries. And eventually, AJ Preller gave up Leo DeVries.
Was one of your top 5 prospects. One.
He
of
was
your top 5 prospects.
number 1 top 5 prospect.
Right. I'm saying that's one. Jet Williams is 3 in the Mets system and 30 in baseball. Jonah Tong is 4 in the Mets system and 46 in baseball. Brandon Sproat is 5 in the Mets system. Scrolling. Okay, so you get 2 top 100 prospects. 3 of the Mets' top 5, when all you had to do to get Mason Miller was 1 top 5 and 1 top 100.
They're better. Those guys are better. The number 1 guy, he was like top 5 in baseball, dude.
No, he is. No, I understand that. But you also have to understand, Tong, Sproat, and Williams are major league ready right now. Leo DeVries is still a couple years out.
You're talking about the best
major
arm
league talent
in baseball.
Who's going to give me 1 inning?
Best arm in baseball.
Who's giving me and you 1 inning?
Who is young?
One
who is
singular
young
inning.
and controllable.
1 inning.
He's young and controllable, and he doesn't cost a lot of money. And these guys are all just prospects. They're all just prospects.
Okay.
I mean, there's no guarantee. So I need as much as possible.
And so was Leo DeVries.
Yeah, Leo DeVries.
What do you mean Big Ten Frank is Mets G? No, this is a legitimate trade. It's not like I'm saying here, I'll give you G1 Bay for Mason Miller. Have at it. I'm giving this a legitimate. This is a
pass. I agree with the people in the chat. I'll pass.
Okay.
Miller's a sure thing. You know what he's going to get. All of the players that you have mentioned are not a sure thing.
What do you mean? Like Kodai Senga and David Peterson aren't sure things.
But getting Kodai Senga on for $15 million doesn't help the Padres. By the way, Leo DeVries is the 3rd best prospect in all of baseball.
No, I know. I said that.
Nolan McLean is 11th. That would be the only way that you would make the Mason Miller thing happen. I mean, you could come up with other trades that don't involve Mason Miller, but if you're going to give up Mason Miller,
like I said, this was your blockbuster trade that it said that the Padres wanted to do.
If that's the case, I need
offering
at least
leftover Thanksgiving turkey. Are you insane?
Here's the thing though, the Padres slightly overpaid for Mason Miller. Therefore, in order to recoup what they overpaid, they have to get an overpayment back.
What do you think getting 3 top 5 and 2 top 100 prospects is?
Needs to be 3.
Oh, for God's sake.
It needs to be something so ridiculous that AJ Preller says yes, and it passes in the public eye.
Yeah, fine. You want Carson Bench too?
I know nothing about Carson Bench.
He's the number 20th. He's the number 2
in
prospect in baseball. He's the number 20. He's the number 21 prospect in baseball. He's the number 2 in the Mets system. He's expected to make his major league debut this season. He's an outfielder, which if you're going to give up Ramon Laureano, you're going to need. So if that's the case, I'm putting in Benj and I'm taking out Mauricio Acuna.
The whole point of trading major league talent for prospects is trading away major league talent that is not under control for 4 years. And then
you're getting 4 of the Mets' top 5 and 3 top 100s, which you just said you would take. You would take 3 top 100s. You're getting 3 top 50s.
Again, you're talking to a fan base that every time they have done this, not one of those prospects has ever turned out. It's a hard sell. It's a hard sell. I think trading for prospects.
You've seen what Sproat and Tong can do at the major league level. They did it last year. They're not an unknown quantity. You've seen them. They've done it. They've played at the major league level. Plus, if you're getting Kodai, Senga, and Peterson, they've done it at the major league level.
No,
and in Senga's case,
you said pick one of the two. You didn't say get both.
Yeah, I said pick one of the two. Yeah, so you're getting Senga or Peterson, which they've done it at the major league level for several years now.
They
have more
way
experience than Randy Vasquez and have been better than Randy Vasquez, and you're okay with Vasquez being in the rotation right now?
All I said was McLean. Add McLean. If you add McLean, then it's something that's worth it. But again, you have to figure out of what you want the starting pitcher to turn into.
He's a Met fan. That's why. I gave you my entire minor league system. I didn't say, here's G1 Bay, here's Luis Torrens, you can have him back, and then here's, let me see, Reed Garrett. That's a realistic offer. Am I wrong?
No, it's close. I just would never trade Mason Miller for anything but at least having Nolan McLean.
They didn't say, here's Richard Lovelady, enjoy. What do you mean it's not realistic?
The thing is
guys,
none of these players
you guys
are
get so fixated
guaranteed as prospects. They're just not.
You've seen what half of the people more than half, because you're getting Mark Vientos too. The only two you haven't seen at the major league level are Benj and Williams. Those are the only two you haven't seen at the major league level.
Again, trying to tell this fan base to trade one of their best players for prospects
you guys
is never going to work out, because those trades have never really worked out for the Padres. And most of the time, these trades never work out for the team that gets prospects. It's very rare that they do. Now, if these turn into a bunch of different prospect capital, in which they then flip for guys that are top major league players, I'd be in. But I'd have to see whatever everybody else wants. I would rather flip a Jeremiah Estrada or even an Adrian Morejon, to be honest with you, in the bullpen for a couple of mid-level prospects for the Mets and some prospects that maybe some of the teams that have this next group of pitchers wants, that we're going to talk about when we come back, in order to make a trade. Like, to me, the trade with the Mets would be to get more prospects back to go flip for somebody else.
Yeah, and you say you need Nolan McLean. McLean has done it for half a year.
He's the best out of the group. If we're just going to go on prospects, which
last
is a gamble,
year,
I'm going to get the
last
best
year,
chance by trading for the number one prospect in your organization if I'm going to be giving up my number one asset at pitcher that's under control for the next 4 years.
Do you know why Nolan McLean was brought up last year for the Mets?
No.
Was because of the three, Jonah Tong, Brandon Sproat, and Nolan McLean, he was the one that was most projected to fail. And so this way, they could protect Tong and Sproat, who had more value than him. That was why he was brought up first. The fact that he pitched as good as he did was a fluke to the Mets. They were not expecting that. They didn't bring him up because they thought he was ready and they thought he could thrive. He forced himself to become a major part of that rotation.
You're not figuring out that I don't like trading for prospects because it's a waste.
I understand.
It's a waste. It's a waste. I mean, a lot of these guys are really solid, and then they're not until they're not. I mean, it's not a recipe for success.
I'm saying you want major league experience. You want guys who have done it at the major league level. Nolan McLean has done it for 2 weeks longer than Tong and Sproat have. It's not like you're getting a more proven commodity than anyone else.
What I'm saying is the only way I trade Mason Miller is if I get a Tarek Skubal back. That's it.
You're not going to get that, though.
Well, that means he's not available.
Mason Miller is not going to be the centerpiece of that trade for your side.
You know what that means, Frank? That means he's not available.
Well, there you go.
That's literally what that means. Unless I get the prospect capital to bring Skubal in here, and then I can re-sign Skubal. I'm not sending away a player that's not going to get paid a lot, that's under control for 4 years, that's 26 years old.
Then stop mentioning him in trade talks. That's it.
They're mentioning him in trade talks.
I know.
I'm just saying the only way that it makes sense, and this is probably why they're doing it, the only way it makes sense is if you give up an enormous haul of all your top prospects. You're looking at it as like even deal. If you're trading away Mason Miller, you're not looking for an even deal. You're looking to get way more out of somebody.
Okay.
Not trying to make it, let's make it even and fair. That's not trading Mason Miller. Because what do we say? What do we say in the open every single day? You can't punt on a Manny Machado prime year. Your window is now. It's not in the future. So like these guys better help you right now. And my thing is, who has a better chance at helping the Padres in 2026? Mason Miller or any of those prospects that you don't even know are going to be great in a full season because you haven't seen it yet. It's a risk. You know what you got in Mason Miller. You don't know what you got in a full season with a lot of the players that you just mentioned.
You don't know what you got in a full season with Nolan McLean either, but you're willing to give up Mason Miller for him?
Him and the other guys.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. You're willing to give up. You're not willing to give up.
McLean, Tong, and what's his name? And Jet Williams? Yeah, that's what it would have to be.
Okay.
Seriously. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense for the Padres. It doesn't. It doesn't make a lot of sense for the Padres. The Mason Miller throwing it out there, that is to dangle the carrot to get the Mets to overpay.
See,
that's why they have that conversation.
Rocky, what do you mean, see what's his name? You can't even say his name. Brother, we're talking about people in other people's farm systems. Nobody knows anyone in anyone else's farm system.
He's making the point that that's why they're not valuable.
I understand that, but I'm also saying that, do you know who J.J. Weatherholt is? What team is J.J. Weatherholt on?
No idea. Never heard of him.
Thank you very much. But he's the number 4 prospect in baseball. He's a shortstop for the Cardinals. You wouldn't want a guy like J.J. Weatherholt?
I don't want any prospects because they don't do anything.
I'm just saying.
It's such a. I think trading for prospects is a scam that big market teams pull on small market teams to dangle a carrot. I mean, look at like somebody's like, "Oh, it worked out for the Nationals." Has it worked out for the Nationals? Has it worked out for the Nationals at all? Let's look at the Nationals. Has it worked out for the Nationals? The Nationals have been awful for years, and guess who's on the trade market now? He's part of a list of 6 other potential trade targets for starting pitching. We'll talk about it when we come back. If you want to get some prospects for the Mets and flip it for these guys, I'm starting to listen. But to just trade Mason Miller and just expect that this is going to fill out your rotation a little bit, I don't necessarily know that's the case. Who are these 6 other players? Who's the player I'm talking about? We'll discuss when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour 97 to the fans brought to you by Mission Fed. From first accounts to big life moments, Mission Fed can help. Savings shouldn't be stressful. Mission Fed makes it easier with great rates on savings, certificates, and ultra money market accounts. Grow your money the smart way. Check the latest rates and open an account at missionfed.com. Membership and account criteria apply. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This will be our last week of shows for the year.
That it will be.
Same with the morning show and the afternoon. You're going to be...
Turned you off and not me, sorry.
We're going to be off after Friday. Friday's the big, what do they do, like the Christmas extravaganza or something like that?
Friday is Ben and Woods' Christmas show, and then it's us. We will have cheesecake, Dad. Thank you.
Don't need it.
Otherwise, JR is going to be very, very, very angry at me.
Let me ask you this. What, that's a family recipe?
Yes.
Why haven't you learned to make it?
Because he won't tell me what it is either. That's one of those deathbed pass downs.
You got to wait for that?
Yeah. Much in the same way I have to wait for my great grandfather's knife.
What?
He has my great grandfather, Frank.
Okay. Another Frank.
Had a very, very
Is
good.
your dad's name Frank too?
And my grandfather's name. Had a very, very good quality kitchen knife that he passed down to my grandfather, Frank, that he passed down to my dad, Frank, and I'm the next one in line to get that knife.
To get the knife.
Yes.
Interesting. The Frank Marchese knife.
Mm-hmm.
So are you like Frank Marchese the fourth, or you don't have the same middle name?
At least. No, we don't have the same middle names.
Oh, so you're not.
My dad's middle name is Charles. I honestly don't know what my grandfather's middle name was. I'm sure I was told. I don't remember.
I'm sure I was told. I don't remember.
Like I said, it's bothering me.
No
how
knife
bad,
for you.
Like I said, it's very, very, very. It's bothering me a lot that I'm getting as bad with names as I am.
You got to learn the recipe, dude.
I want to.
You got to keep asking. You got to keep hounding him. I think you got to sit there and watch him make it.
I'm bad with names. I'm going to remember ingredients that I see and don't get a good look at.
You're going to have to
Italians are known for eyeballing it, but like,
none of my family recipes are written down. They're all like by eyesight. Some of them are written down, but it's like, oh, basil, oregano. This.
Yeah, I don't think.
How much?
I don't
about that
think
much.
I am amazing at remembering dog names. Yes, I remember the names of people and things I care about. Apparently,
just dogs or animals in general. Think with the family recipes. I think at a certain age you should try to like learn how to make all this stuff. I guess you have tried. I don't know the details of this.
I have tried.
I know the meatball recipe. I know the sauce recipe. Okay, so you can get they're letting you have those.
Well, no, I got that from my grandfather. I see. There's a thing in.
So your dad's the one that's holding up the line here.
Yeah, there's a thing in my family that every man in our family thinks they make meatballs better than everyone else.
Yeah,
my grandfathers were the best. Period. So when I was living there, he taught me how to do it, and as you would imagine. He went through step by step. Here's what you need. Here's what you have to do. Here's this. Here's that. No measures. It's just put it in your hand. Yeah, that looks about enough. Go for it. I swear to you, the first time I made them, I cried. They were perfect. They were so they were perfect. And that was after I had moved back here. And I knew I probably wasn't going to have them for a very long time, but they were so good. And to this day, aside from my grandfather, I make the best meatballs in my house. No one else thinks so, but I do, because they all think theirs are better.
Interesting.
Me, my mom, and my dad. That's my order. My dad made them last night. They were edible. Which is code for they were pretty good.
Okay.
Which is code that they were actually pretty good, but we're not going to give you the ego boost.
See, like that's why like People that bake don't really see eye to eye with people that cook, because baking needs to be precise because it's like a science.
Yeah.
It's like chemistry. And people that cook, like myself, it's a lot of, it's eyeball. It's feel. It's knowing what's enough.
You haven't had my meatballs. You think they
Got
don't
a
need
casing around your meatballs?
Yeah.
Put it through a meat grinder?
Those are called sausages, actually.
Yeah, that's what a sausage is. Most of the Italian food's just the same thing, just in different
It's just a
ways.
different shape.
Different shape. We are gonna make pasta soon. We haven't made pasta in a long time.
The last time we made pasta was from my birthday, actually, last year. I wanted to make homemade ravioli last year. That was the last time
We used to do that a lot on New Year's. I guess
Mhm.
my mom used to do that at her house around New Year's. I want to make pasta again. We made it in Italy, which is like a slightly different recipe. I like theirs better. The recipe they gave better. That, and the other thing too that I wanted to make is I don't like American tiramisu. It sucks.
No, yeah.
I like the Italian tiramisu, and it's like 3 ingredients. It's super simple, but it's mostly just the cheese.
Yeah.
And it's just whisked to death. I mean, the whisking of the cheese, it makes it almost like into a custard. It's not like like some people like whipped cream in their tiramisu. Thumbs down, dude. That's disgusting. Don't be putting whipped cream in tiramisu. And then like you gotta dip the lady fingers in the espresso for like a second, and that's it. Move on to the next thing.
Really talking about food? Yeah, that's kind of a thing we do on this show. And after the last segment, we kind of need to cool down a little bit. So we're talking about
he
things
needed
we
to cool
enjoy.
down. Him and his casings came out hot. Too hot. They got to cool down a little bit. No, you know what? Go Aztecs. You know what? I'm going to tell you, dude. Thumbs down on tiramisu in general. That's what I thought. And then I had it in Italy, and I'm like, oh, this is actually good.
Yeah,
it's made the proper way.
If it's done right, yeah.
It's made the proper way. So that's going to add to my list of things I'm going to cook next. So here's the deal. Since we're off for like 2 weeks, I might as well just film a bunch of videos of me cooking food. I haven't decided yet if about smoking anything on the Traeger. The last time I did a winter brisket was when TC was in the college football playoff. I don't know if I'm doing a winter brisket.
That's
because it's cold outside and stuff like that. You know?
Duh, it's cold. Okay, you're going to say it's cold outside after I just came from Baltimore.
Hey, it's colder outside, especially at night, especially when you need to smoke something overnight. It doesn't hold the temperature as well. Just saying. Feels better when you do the cooking during the summertime anyway. You do like the comfort foods during the wintertime. This is why everybody has an extra, a winter coat, and why everybody has to hit the gym the first week of January. I keep talking about it with my friend. She was like, oh, get this extra winter coat now. I'm like, it's the holidays. It's the alcohol. Everybody's having, it's a time to be jolly and merry. People do that drinking and eating. Had a great meal last night. Matter of fact, I made the caprese. Good stuff. Yeah, you know what? I've been having a craving for caprese. I picked up the heirloom tomatoes last night on the way home. We already had the basil plant. We're Italian, so basil plant growing in the thing.
Well,
So heirloom tomato, basil, fresh mozzarella, a little salt and pepper, a little olive oil. Sometimes I do a balsamic glaze. Sometimes I don't. So good. So good. Eat, drink, and be merry. That's what December's for. To eat, drink, and be merry. Go look at lights.
Happy Hanukkah, by the way. It started yesterday.
It did. That's true. Go Essex. Alamo Bowl, Texas brisket. You know what? Sounds good. Sounds like a good time to do that. The problem is I got a USD basketball game on the same day. So kind of hard to host people and smoke a brisket when I got to do USD Gonzaga.
So Braden will be ignoring the Alamo for that day.
I don't know. I'll be locked in to both. I also, as a member of Sports San Diego, the Red Jacket, you have to sign up for certain shifts when the Holiday Bowl rolls around. So I'll be doing a bartending shift on New Year's Eve.
Hey yo,
from 5 to 7:30 is my shift for the SMU traveling party. Am I going to wear TCU stuff underneath? Should I make skillet references the entire time? I think I should. I should serve everything in a skillet and be like, ha, not so fast.
Free birthday drink over here?
I don't know if you're allowed in. It's for the traveling parties.
Oh, okay.
I'll get yourself a red jacket and mingle in. I'm sure Mark Neville will allow it.
Especially with it being my birthday and all,
Live show.
Okay, let's not go that far.
Wear the red jacket. Hopefully I don't make fun of too many of the SMU people. I'll get kicked out. Oh, you wanted the skillet mac and cheese? Sorry, you don't get the skillet because you don't have the skillet. Where's the skillet mac and cheese? That's not a skillet. Well, you don't have any, so I don't know what to tell you.
See, that's where you tell Mark, really, you're going to trust me with the SMU bit.
Well, the Arizona shifts got taken up immediately because there's obviously a lot of Arizona love. But I'm going to tell you right now, am I going to have SMU jokes ready to go? Yeah, I'll have a couple zingers ready to go. Because here's the best part. We don't play SMU anymore, so the skillet is forever ours. No more for SMU. All right, 7 starting pitchers that might get moved to the deadline. The pros and cons of each of them. Do they fit the Padres? And what my idea would be with the trade with the Mets that helps you get one of these pitchers. We'll talk about it when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego Sports Station 97 through the Fan. Just got some news on the Twitter wire as sent to us by Adam. Some interesting nuggets. We will talk about the Ken Rosenthal stuff later. Ben and Woods were talking about that. I disagree with Ken, but we all do because he's everybody's favorite journalist. Our live studio audience. Of course, it always helps out. We'll have a live studio audience on Friday. Not us, but the morning show.
We'll have some stragglers, I'm sure.
Yeah, come over here. Just as long as they boo Ken Rosenthal. But here's the other report that we saw on Twitter. Now, take this for what it's worth, okay? We're going to take this for what it's worth. We're throwing it out. We're throwing out a big disclaimer, okay? Big disclaimer. We all set with that? We all cool with that? We understand?
It is. I would play the 7 Mile disclaimer, but we're not gambling at this moment.
Maybe we are.
Okay, then.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. GEGE 000466 for a full list of games and rules played at 7 Mile Casino. Visit.
Thank you. All right, so Mark C. Healy. I'm surprised you've never heard of this guy because you're a Mets guy. He is the editor-in-chief of the Wave newspaper.
I've heard of Fran Healy.
Which is Rockaway's award-winning newspaper since 1893.
That's cool.
Take that for what it's worth. He is the founder and author of Gotham Baseball, which is the past, present, and future of the New York game. In the past, he was a former actor. He was an AP writer, Sirius XM fantasy host, Baseball Digest online editor. He has 10,000 followers on Twitter.
Impressive.
This is what he put out.
It's about 9,500 and more than us and our show accounts combined.
This is what he put out an hour ago and then reclarified 15 minutes later or 15 minutes ago. From Mark C. Healy, there seems to be a lot of buzz that Mets and Padres talks could be coming to a close, perhaps even a deal later today. I don't know any details. I'd keep an eye on Jeff Passan for the next few hours. That's what he said an hour ago. Now, he then clarified, again, take this for what it's worth. He clarified and said, let me clarify this even more than I thought I did. The talks are rumored to be coming to a close, perhaps even a trade later today. There could be no deal also. Hey, so Frank, there could be a deal today in the next couple hours, or there could be no deal at all.
Wow.
What do you do with that information?
You take it for what it's worth. Take it with a grain of salt.
I think Jeff Passan paid him to have people like monitor his Twitter. No. I would not expect a Passan bomb on this. But talks could be coming to a close. I think the smoke only lasts for so long, Frank, when it comes to these potential deals.
Yeah.
And you figure it out and you talk about back and forth, the same team, and then eventually you just go like, all right.
Yeah, we're not
going to hit on this. Let's go work on something else.
Yeah, we've gone as far as we can go now. Maybe you can link up a little bit later and see if there's still something there. If not, then you got no deal. If there is, then maybe you pick it up at a later date. But right now, if maybe we've exhausted this angle of attack, maybe we can think of a different one later down the line. If we do, we'll ring you up.
There was a lot of movement in baseball over the weekend. We're going to talk about some of those latest rumors and updates in the noon hour. We're going to do that at noon to talk about guys like Merrill Kelly and everything like that. But we did want to get into this pitcher trade market, which is starting to take shape. Despite zero impact starter trades at the winter meetings, starting pitching market is quietly heating up, and it's clear why. Elite arms are either expensive in free agency or unavailable entirely. That's pushing contenders toward high-stakes trades even when control is limited. Here are some of the key names and what makes each fascinating but also dangerous. Number one on the list is Tarek Skubal. Tarek Skubal, I mean, we've heard the reports of the Dodgers being interested in Tarek Skubal. I mean, it'd be cool to see him in a Padres uniform, but there is some risk there. He's controllable through the end of the year. He's a back-to-back AL Cy Young Award winner. He's 29 years old. Detroit could potentially trade him because extension talks have stalled. Risk of losing him for only a compensation pick. Scott Boras client, which means free agency is likely. Why teams want him? He's the best pitcher in baseball, arguably. 193 innings a year. Elite stuff, elite results. Acquiring him screams definitely all in. But he does have some red flags. One guaranteed year. Trade costs will be franchise altering. No assurance he stays. This is definitely a mortgage the future type move for anybody that decides to do it. I just find the market to be very slim for Tarek Skubal. And by that logic, I think the odds of him getting traded are not very high. But I do think there's a couple of teams that might be able to swing it.
As someone who has tried, I can tell you it is very, very difficult to trade for Tarek Skubal, even in MLB The Show. So I don't see him getting moved. He's a guy who, again, if the ownership of Detroit had any brains worth anything, they would do what they can to try to keep him. Like, I don't understand why shopping him is even being considered a thing. Like, he's on the level of a Clayton Kershaw, and the Dodgers never once considered even moving him. The fact that there are this many talks about Tarek Skubal, if I were Detroit, I would be very, very worried that he's not even going to return next year.
I don't know how Detroit as a major market team cannot be able to bring back the best pitcher in baseball. I mean, if that's the case because of money, the league is what it is. Especially in an open-ended league where you can spend as much money as possible. They should be able to bring back their best player. I think it's better for baseball when that is the case. Number 2 on the list is Mackenzie Gore. I find this to be intriguing potentially for the Padres. He's controllable through 2027. The Padres obviously drafted him, and they traded him in that Soto deal. He's a former number 3 pick in the draft by the Padres. Washington might trade him because massive league-wide interest in Mackenzie Gore. Farm system needs replenishment. How about that?
Yeah.
The Nationals farm system needs replenishment. They traded for farm pieces, and they still need more guys.
Yeah, because that just screams, hey, the Nationals can't draft worth a bleep.
And I go back to say again, how has it benefited the Nationals? The trading the young, controllable player for a bunch of prospects. Now, they had to do it because he didn't sign.
Yeah.
They offered him a contract,
wasn't going to.
But he didn't sign. And so they had to trade him away. But they already need to replenish their farm system. They're already looking to shop Mackenzie Gore.
Right,
I mean, this is going to be an endless cycle for the Nationals.
Right, but if you put 3 diamonds in a pile of garbage, you still have a bigger pile of garbage. Like, the Nationals were not good around those guys, which is why Soto wanted out, why Soto said he didn't want to come back. And they haven't done anything around those 3 guys, those 3 being Gore, Abrams, and now Wood, to say that, hey, we're going to use these guys. We're going to build around these guys. They've done nothing of the sort. They've just maintained the status quo. So, yeah, it's not that those guys are looking to be shipped because they haven't panned out. It's those guys are looking to be shipped because the team is garbage. They did nothing to rebuild around it, and they want out because they know they're not going to re-sign. And why should they?
Teams want him because of ace upside, dominant first half in 2025, still just 26 years old. The red flags for Mackenzie Gore: severe second half collapse, injury concerns, and his expected ERA suggests inconsistency isn't just a fluke. I wouldn't mind trading for Mackenzie Gore back.
No, absolutely not.
I wouldn't mind trading for CJ Abrams back.
Yeah, and they're both available. They're both on the market.
The Nationals potentially trading away both of those players, and maybe even James Wood would be hilarious. Could you imagine the Padres get all those guys back?
Congratulations, you traded Juan Soto for
Nothing.
Yeah, literally nothing.
I mean, somebody mentioned in the chat, Merrill Kelly, the Diamondbacks did exactly what I'm surprised people don't do all the time. They traded an impending free agent for prospects to the Rangers.
And then signed him back.
And then signed them at the end of the season. Why not do that? That's a win-win for a lot of players. Like, if you're the Diamondbacks, you know you're not going to compete. You just tell Merrill Kelly, hey, man, do you want to go try to win this year? Like, somebody wants you.
Do you mind going on loan to a winner and then we sign you back? Like,
we want you to be here in the future.
Yeah,
like,
we
fine.
want you here, but we need you to make this happen.
But let's make our team better in the future.
Here's a way that you could try to win this year, come back, and like we'll be chill about it. We'll just forget those 2 months ever happened.
So the Diamondbacks did. They had to pay him a little bit extra, but he was more valuable to the Diamondbacks than probably anybody else.
He's also, what, 36, 37?
Yeah, he's like 37 years
so
old.
he's also up there in age.
He got more than Fangraphs thought he was going to get $16 million a year. He got $20 a year on a 2-year deal. He's 37 years old.
Yeah, that's the, hey, I'm sorry we traded you tax. I'm sorry we made you live in a condo or a hotel.
I'm
for 3
sorry
months.
we traded you to a team that didn't make the playoffs. Because he got traded to Texas.
It was. I realize now what we did wasn't cool. Our bad. Here's a $4 million raise per year.
I don't know what he got last year or in his last contract, but I'm sure he's making more now than what he was getting before. I mean, you know what? Got a little overpay. It's a win-win for everybody. Diamondbacks got prospects back. The Rangers got a pitcher for a little bit. Merrill Kelly got a big contract. Still gets to stay in Arizona. It's great. Freddie Peralta's on this list as well. Signed through 2026, $8 million. Power righty, age 29.
But if you're going to trade for him, I would want a commitment long term. I would want to trade and sign. That's what I would want. Same thing you would want if you're trading for Tarek Skubal.
He doesn't fit the Padres, but he fits like anybody that needs an arm just for a year.
Yeah.
That's who that guy fits. Long track record of selling early is Milwaukee. Final year under control looming. Career best 2.7 ERA, 200 plus strikeouts, dirt cheap contract for his production. I could see him going to a contender that just needs an extra arm more than anybody else. I don't think he fits the Padres. There's a couple other of these potential trade pieces at the starting pitching spot. We'll get to that. We'll get to all the other news in Major League Baseball. We'll get back to your phone calls. And Dennis Lynn had something on Yu Darvish that we want to report on when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego Summer Sports Station, 97 through the Fan.
San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? Getting ready to start the noon lunchtime hour on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show. Live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. A lot of movement on Twitter. There's a lot of smoke around the Padres and the Mets. Be interesting to see what's going on in the trade market today. We've gotten some reports that there might be a trade that happens today. Take it for what it's worth. We see multiple reports on that. We do have some other things from Ken Rosenthal that we're going to play for you later on in the show. Everybody's favorite journalist, Ken Rosenthal. See what he has to say. He did say some other things, too, about the Padres, which I disagree with. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. We do want to get to the latest news that happened over the weekend and what the latest rumors are in the trade market and on free agency with Frank here in a second. But we do want to get to your phone calls, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's head on down to Chula Vista where Kevin's standing by. Kevin, what's going on, man?
Well, great discussion as usual, guys. What I would urge everybody to do, including both you guys, is when you start into these discussions about potential trades, especially the ones that involve prospects. We all know prospects are suspects. You gotta hold to a standard here, and the standard is this: do any of these acquisitions put the Padres into a position to where their roster becomes as good or better than their key competitors, namely the Dodgers, the Braves, the Phillies, the Cubs, the Brewers, the folks that 26 players, it takes 26. And I don't see, with all due respect to Frank, if the Mets thought that any of these prospects were that damn good, they'd keep them because they would think that they'd get into the World Series. Period. End of story. And by trying to trade off their bags of rocks to teams that are supposedly lesser in income and other means, suggests that basically we're going to end up with what we get, what the little boy shot at. And once again, when September rolls around, October rolls around, we're going to be short in many, many areas as we continue to be. And that window of opportunity for this team, by all standards and discussions that have occurred, is darn near closed. So how does this acquisition with the Mets get the Padres to the promised land? Nothing less. That's the key question.
That is the key question. And Kevin, I appreciate the phone call. I mean, it's kind of the sense of, too, where I was mentioning on a couple of things with potential trades for the Padres. If you're going to give up a guy like Mason Miller, what is the player that you want back? Like, what do you want those prospects to turn into? And if you don't think those prospects can turn into those players, then there's no reason to acquire said players. I mean, I think you can say the same thing about like Leo DeVries. Like, Leo DeVries had to be somebody like Francisco Lindor or better for it to be a situation where you're like, I'm willing to give up Mason Miller for this guy. And the A's probably believe that. But, just getting good, solid major league players in a trade when you're trading away elite players, that's not going to help you out in the long run. trading away elite players for good, like potential average Major League Baseball players is a waste of time, in my opinion. If you think those players can turn into like Fernando, like the whole Fernando Tatis Jr. trade, which is great for the Padres, right? If you think that some of these prospects can turn into elite players, then you make the move. But if they're just going to be like solid everyday players, it's not worth trading for. Not trading your best. You got to trade the same thing, right? You trade a guy like Mason Miller because you think you're going to get another Mason Miller back that's younger in the future. Not, let's trade Mason Miller and get a bunch of guys and hopefully one of them turns into a major leaguer. And that's the crapshoot game that is making trades for prospects and the evaluation of prospects and all these reports like, oh, these guys are so great. I mean, I find it, we read all of these reports all the time and you get the updates from the minor leagues. Do they ever say any of these players are bad?
No.
Do they ever? I mean, every report I read is always like, these guys are so good. This guy's so good. This guy's so good. Is anybody bad? I guess those are the guys that are just not talked about. I mean, you have all these like blogs and stuff on minor league players, and it's always like, this guy's a stud. This guy's a stud. It's like, yeah, maybe playing against the competition he's going against. And it's brought up perfectly in the chat by Augie. It's like the NFL draft. Every team, every round gets an all-pro. And then you go look back at it 7 years, you're like, oh, maybe they weren't all pros. I mean, a lot of the first-round picks are usually guys that hit. But at the same time, there's no guarantee. I've yet to read reports like, you know what, this guy really can't get it done. He's not very good. The reports always on minor league players are the ones that are not highly talked about, right? Or the ones that weren't on the like high draft picks or whatever. Those are always like, this guy's going to be a stud. And then all the other players that are like at the top echelon that got overhyped when they got drafted out of high school or signed as a 15-year-old, those are always like, well, maybe he's not living up to that kind of hype. It's like the same reports all the time. This is why you can't the prospect rankings, just based on, like, to me, this is why I don't get super stoked about recruiting rankings. It's the same thing. It's the same process. They're of value. You have media people or journalists or whatever, bloggers, evaluating talent and then giving grades that are different than what the teams give certain players. And then we get all enamored with prospect rankings and recruiting rankings. And as somebody that coaches like high school football, I mean, I look at the recruiting rankings and go, really? That's what you see out of this kid? It's baffling to me a lot of the times. So like the same thing could probably be applied to a lot of these minor league system rankings and stuff like that. This is another reason why I think the Padres, every time people say like, oh, they don't have a good farm system ranking, they have nothing to trade. There's something in there that teams like because they continue to flip players all the time and continue to acquire talent that everybody seems to covet when it's all said and done at trade deadlines. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. I mean, yeah. Ponce and Morel were once highly touted prospects. Are now signing for minimum deals on a 1-year deal. 100%. I mean, we like Jurickson Profar here in San Diego. He was the number one prospect in baseball. The number one. You would think the number one prospect in baseball was a perennial all-star. I mean, you look at some of these others, like it's kind of crazy who was ranked where. I always look back to some of the trades that the Padres made because it's like, you know, when they traded, I don't remember if he was part of the trade for Musgrove or not, but it was one of the trades of the Pirates, like David Bednar the Padres gave up. David Bednar was the 30th best prospect in baseball. Or sorry, in the Padres minor league system when he was traded. 30th best. He got flipped for a starting pitcher. Guy turned into a closer. Went to an all-star game here or there, then that's about it. Prospect rankings, total crapshoot. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Craig and Bonita, Navy had a big win on Saturday. They made you guys sweat that thing out, didn't they, Craig?
Yes, they did, and I give all the credit to Ben, who came and spoke at our alumni chapter to kick the week off, and I give unofficial credit to Woods for luck of the Irish being with us and some modern day miracles for us pulling that one off.
Yeah, that was a pretty close one there at the end. You know what? I think Frank was rooting for Navy, and he was there at the game representing. So you got to give a little bit of love to Frank too.
Go Navy, beat Army.
Yep. No, thank you. Appreciate it. Being on the sideline, your cheers could be heard and appreciated. It was definitely a nail biter, but hopefully you got a chance to enjoy what true Navy football is about. I did one march on as a plebe in the old RFK Stadium, and then I suited up for the next three and played in all three of them, and we got 2 wins and a tie out of that. Don't talk about the tie because that was my senior year, and that hurts still to this day.
Craig, we appreciate the phone call as always and love the insight, and go Navy. Big win for Craig and Bonita's Navy midshipmen over Army. As we talked about that earlier on the show, Frank's experience at the Army-Navy game. We had this report earlier today, and there's 2 things from Ken Rosenthal, everybody's favorite journalist, that we want to play. I also have an update on Yu Darvish. Dennis Lynn reported this on Twitter. He tweeted it out. It's also in the Union Tribune now. Yu Darvish doing a charity event today. He did speak on his recovery and everything like that. And there's an interesting update that he provided. We're going to get to that when we come back. Yu Darvish conversation. We will also hear what Ken Rosenthal had to say about that article with Dennis Lynn and Will Salmon that we just picked around, including some of the reports that there might be a trade today between the Mets and the Padres. That's what the rumor is. Take it for what it's worth. We'll be here if it happens. Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Summer Sports Station, 97 through the Fan. This holiday season, too many San Diegans will go hungry. Join 97 through the Fan and support San Diego Food Bank. Donate food directly online through our Odyssey San Diego Food Fund, where every donation helps feed local families. Go to 97throughthefantasy.com/food fund and give today. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We are on each and every day from 10 to 2. This will be our last week of shows for the holidays. We'll do our last show on Friday. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on right now with the Padres. Things are starting to cook a little bit. We'll talk about the updates with their talks with the Mets here in a second. But we did have a report from Dennis Lin about Yu Darvish. And then it was put in the paper on a report by Kevin Acee about where Yu Darvish is at in terms of rehab and what that's going to look like and, yada, 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 yada. Now, here's the report is written by Kevin Acee. Yu Darvish is doing some charity things today with the Padres. He had surgery in October to repair his torn UCL and flexor tendon in his right elbow. Padres said the recovery time for the veteran pitcher would be 12 to 15 months. Darvish said this in a social media post after the procedure that he will work hard in his rehab to be able to throw a ball comfortably again. But that might not be the case in the major leagues. Darvish confirmed Monday, today, just about an hour ago, that he's not certain he will pitch again. Quote, I'm not necessarily thinking about really pitching as I go through this rehab process right now, as he said through his translator, Shingo Hori. I don't have that in mind. I'm just trying to rehab my arm right now. And if I get the urge to come back, if I feel that I can stand on the mound and come back, then I will go for that, but I'll just leave it there for now. Darvish is under contract through 2028. However, he has since before the 2025 season been non-committal about how long he will play. Speaking Monday during an appearance at the Ronald McDonald House, for which he has been a benefactor, Darvish lamented how his 2025 season went. Quote, I don't feel like I was able to really contribute to the team during that time while I was pitching. In my mind, I was thinking that maybe this could be it for me. So I was kind of, in a way, grinding through the season, trying to get the best out of myself for the team. 3 sources have said this offseason that 39-year-old Darvish is considering retirement. A 4th source, while not explicitly saying the right-hander will record, the right-hander with a record of 208 wins between MLB and Japan is calling it quits, said Darvish's priorities after 21 years in professional baseball revolve around his family. Quote from AJ Preller, we've got some more questions for the future, and what does the surgery mean for you? He's a pro. We have a ton of respect for him. We're going to let him go through the process and keep talking to him for the next couple of weeks. The surgery rules him out for the 2026 season, a season which he is scheduled to be paid $60 million. He is due $15 million in both 2027 and 2028. If he retires, at least some of that money is freed up for the Padres, who would welcome the infusion of available funds in their quest to add much-needed starting pitching. Darvish, who turned 39 in August, has made more than $220 million in 14 seasons in the major leagues. He's also played 7 seasons in Japan, is believed to have made several million more in endorsements as one of that country's most revered professional athletes.
Revered.
Revered. Here's the thing with Yu Darvish. He doesn't have to come back and pitch. He might be still retiring when he's done with the rehab process. I mean, he is a guy, like, with the way his contract is, as an employee of the Padres, he'd be able to use the Padres for rehab. He'd be able to use the Padres for his recovery. He'd be able to use the Padres and all of their top facilities to get his arm better and to get back to full health. So by retiring early, he wouldn't be able to use any of those things, right? You'd have to work out a deal. But now, guaranteed, he stays on the payroll, he can do all of those things. And you know what? I think that's his right to do so. I also think that's probably the best course for him and probably his family and probably everybody else in the organization. And so you got to pay him some money this year. Who cares? But I could totally see Yu Darvish using all of these facilities, doing the rehab, getting back to full strength, and then not pitching and just being like, I'm retired now. I don't need to go out there and do a whole rehab for pitching process yet. I mean, he might retire near the midway to end of the season next year. But I would expect him to probably be around the team in some capacity. Craig Stammen said the same thing. Craig Stammen said he expects Yu Darvish to be around the team a lot. He said this last week at the winter meeting. Specifically, him and Randy Vasquez have a really tight, close relationship. He was very instrumental in Randy Vasquez's season last year, of it getting better as the season went on. Game planning, knowing how to take care of his body is going to be a huge asset for the Padres, not just with Randy, but the entire team, specifically the pitching staff, as quoted by Craig Stammen last week. Some people might be upset that he Yu Darvish he should retire now so we can save some money. No, he should retire when he's done with the rehab process. Just like anybody else would do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Guy got hurt at work. He's getting paid by the company to get better. You tell me none of you guys would do that? None of you would do for the betterment of your company? You would not do that? For the betterment of competition?
I would never do that.
No. For the betterment of Odyssey, Frank?
Nope, I would never. I'm a company guy. I would
Big
do
Ten
what's
Frank's
best for the
back.
company.
There it is. Big Ten Frank is back.
But honestly, I mean, for Yu Darvish, it makes total sense. That's exactly what anyone with half a brainstem would do, is to take advantage of what you can take advantage of. And then when it's done, whether you want to, or especially if you don't want to, then call it quits, then hang it up, which, I mean, you can't. You just thank you very much, and off you go. It's not like he's not going to be around San Diego for a while now that his son has committed to become a Triton. So congratulations to him and the family on that. But
Don for life.
Yeah, there you go. So I mean, that's do what you got to do to do the best for yourself, man.
I have no problem with
it.
this.
Yeah,
and the Padres have no problem with this either. He's done so much for the organization in general, and I'm sure he'll probably have a job with the organization when it's all said and done.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But if the guy's going to need to get the rehab, I mean, let him just rehab. Let him do that. If you want to work at, you shouldn't have to make Yu Darvish work out a deal to retire to save like a couple million here and there for the team. Got one more year left. So there's a possibility he just goes through the process, the rehab process. And who knows? Like, if he's not going to throw again, he just needs to get his arm better to an extent where he doesn't have to throw at a major league level, right? Which could be a faster process for him. And then he retires when he's done. Still part of the possibilities.
Padres, just get me healthy enough to where I can catch D1 college bullpens for my kid. That would be my request. Get me to the point where I can catch D1 bullpens.
I don't think he's ever done that, but probably be okay. Get him to a spot where he can show how to throw a couple pitches at spring training. Show some of the young guys. So I could see that being the case. Again, the Padres have taken care of this guy. I mean, here's the deal. You're going to be paying him for the amount of time that you should have been paying him during the time that he spent not getting paid when he did that himself. Remember that? Anybody remember that? Guy's already given back to the organization in some capacity when he missed time and put himself on the restricted list.
Yeah.
He didn't have to do that.
Yeah, Padres were not going to do that initially, and he said, "No, don't pay me. Just put me on the restricted list, and we'll be fine. I'll come back when I'm ready."
He's done what he's needed to do for this organization. I'm not upset about it. And if you think it's gonna be the factor why the Padres are not competitive, you're thinking out of the kind of crazy there. But anyway, that was the latest report. So it sounds like he might not be coming back in 2027 at all.
Like Trav Gundy just said in the chat. Or you could be like Rivers, take 4 years off and then come back right as you're about to be
Get your health
you're
benefits
about to be
back.
inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Right. I do find it funny when people go like, make somebody do something that they wouldn't do themselves for the betterment of their team's needs. Their favorite team. The sports fans are awesome. Level like that. Just let him. It's not a big deal. It's really not a big deal.
Do what he needs to do, guys.
It's not like you're going to get that 15 million this year is not going to give you too much, to be honest with you, based on how this plays out. Now, where there's smoke, there's fire. There's a lot of smoke right now when it comes to the San Diego Padres and the New York Mets. What was the latest report from earlier today from Ken Rosenthal? We're going to play that for you when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All guests on 97 through the Fan, join us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys helping good people regain control of their future when charged with the crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. Got a lot moving on with the Mets and the Padres potentially making a trade today. Got some reports about an hour ago on MLB Network. We also had one from John Heyman. A lot of Mets reporters are tweeting out, expect some news today. So we're just kind of patiently waiting. So can't wait for the news to come across at 2 o'clock. It's going to be great.
No.
Going to be great.
155.
155.
Or 255. Yeah, 155.
153.
Well, no, because that would
For the
mean we at
45
least have a
seconds,
chance to say it.
The 45 seconds.
Yeah.
It's going to happen when the outro music happens. There's a couple of reports out there that we want to play for you. Let's get to the Ken Rosenthal stuff from earlier today. Breaking down that article that we talked about between the Mets and the Padres of what could be happening with the trade proposals here coming forward. So this is from Foul Territory. Ken Rosenthal speaking on the report that he did with Dennis Lin and Salmon, who covers the Mets for The Athletic. And here's what went down this morning.
AJ Preller, again, operating on all fronts at all times. And what we wrote about in that story about the Mets and Padres potentially matching up is the fact that a number of the Padres players, including Pivetta, would fit for the Mets right now. And the Mets, of course, have had nothing short of a tumultuous offseason so far. They've traded Brandon Nimmo. They lost last week on back-to-back days Pete Alonso and Edwin Diaz, and now they've got some holes to fill. They started that process with the signing of Polanco, but it's got to continue. So who are the Padres that would fit the Mets? Pivetta is one. Ramon Laureano is another. Mason Miller, certainly in the back of the bullpen. And some of their other relievers, Adrian Morejon, Jeremiah Estrada. All of those players that I just mentioned have come up in one form or another in trade discussions. Now, as we wrote in this story, Fernando Tatis Jr., not part of this. Francisco Lindor, not part of this. I know people are having a lot of fun on the internet, but while their names might have come up, they're not a serious part of these discussions. They're not getting traded, or at least Preller has basically ruled out Tatis to as much of an extent as he ever will. He's always going to listen, but I would say the odds of Fernando Tatis Jr. getting traded to any team are exceedingly slim, and Lindor simply is not going anywhere. So those players I mentioned, they'd be in play for the Mets. What would the Padres want from New York? Pretty obvious. They want young pitching. The Mets have young pitching. They also want young position players with their payroll a bit out of whack. The Mets have those as well. The Mets system is one of the better systems in the game. Now, we were very careful with this article not to overplay it because basically, yes, AJ Preller is talking to the Mets. He's also talking to all 28 other teams. And as I said, he's got a ton of things in play at all times. Most teams do, just not to the extent of Preller. Now, as we wrote, no deal appears close. None will necessarily come to pass. But again, this is something that has been discussed. And also to keep in mind, the Padres might prefer to trade players individually rather than package them together in any combination. As we wrote, Preller is known in the industry for his whirlwind style, talking with all teams during transactional periods and weighing a dizzying number of possible moves and contingency plans. So where is this all going? The answer I have for you is that I have no idea. Neither does Dennis Lin, who does a tremendous job covering this team. Neither does Will Salmon, who does a tremendous job covering the industry. Neither does anyone else. We have no clue. Only AJ Preller knows what he might do. And I would imagine at this stage, he doesn't even know exactly what's going on. He's probably got a whiteboard somewhere, and he's probably scratching names off, adding new names on, and trying to figure out where exactly this is going to end up for him.
A lot of interesting stuff from Ken Rosenthal there. Gonzo with the message of the day. Half scientist from The Simpsons, what he sounds like. Again, I don't think anybody knows what AJ Preller's up to either. I think these two teams are talking, but that doesn't mean something's going to happen. We got the other reports from, a couple of Mets writers and people that cover the New York Mets that something could be coming down today. They also kind of hinted that today might be the last day that they have these conversations. And I find all of that very interesting. Here's from earlier today as well on MLB Network. And we kind of need to play this to give our overall synopsis of everything in this particular conversation about, Steve Phillips talking about the Mets and their now pursuit of Luis Robert Jr. of the White Sox, but also Mason Miller of the Padres.
In the New York City area, there's a buzz because Mason Miller's name's been thrown out there, and once it's thrown out there, we're not giving it back. How legit would that be?
Yeah, I don't know why the Padres necessarily they gave up arguably the top prospect in baseball to get Mason Miller. And they want to build the team from the back of the game forward. Talking to Craig Stammen, their manager at the winter meetings, and AJ Preller, they like the idea of having that dominant bullpen. And without Suarez there anymore, Miller at the end of the game makes sense. With Mora home, they're going to get Jason Adam back at some point. So I don't know that. I mean, the Padres and Mets have talked. I don't suspect that Miller's the lead guy in that. I think Nick Pivetta may be the guy the Mets have interest in. And it makes me wonder why the Padres want to give him up because he was great for them last year. So, the other guy the Mets are interested in is Luis Robert Jr. From the White Sox. Now, they picked up his option. He's making $20 million, but, he can steal a base and he can defend, but he's just not hit in the last 3 years. Every year it's been a little bit less. And so maybe a change of scenery would do him well. But again, I don't look at him as a solution for the Mets. That he would improve them defensively. There's no question, but you have to score enough. And the best aspect of run prevention is pitching. And that's an area that I think they really need to focus on even more than what they're doing with their position players.
Does anybody know anything?
No, especially, and by the way, for those of you who do not know, Steve Phillips is a former general manager. He was the Mets general manager that was responsible for bringing Mike Piazza to the Mets. So Phillips does know what he's talking about.
It doesn't sound like, as much as people like to throw Mason Miller's name out there, it doesn't sound like Mason Miller is really...
Well, because, and I think that has to do with the fact that, we said and we heard and we had been primed for blockbuster, bigger than Juan Soto. Mason Miller's name fits that bill, so of course everyone's going to go and think about Mason Miller.
I saw that whole article that they had last week about all of their trades combined is going to outdo some of these. Not like the first trade they do is going to outdo these. But maybe it's a 3-team deal. Or maybe it's like, all right, they're going to trade away, Ramon Laureano or Nick Pivetta and get prospects back, and they go flip those for somebody else, and then it's like all of these moving pieces. I viewed that report from Kevin Acee as, from last week, there's like 20 players getting moved amongst all the deals that the Padres make, like master roster reconstruction, from the minor leagues, from some of the major league spots. It's very interesting to see a lot of these play out with the trades and the trade rumors. But again, today there's just more and more smoke on Padres and Mets aligning on something. Watch, we're gonna see a trade where it's like Jeremiah Estrada for like 2 prospects that we haven't even seen yet.
Yeah,
down low, and that's gonna be the move that they make today. So we'll see what happens, and we'll try to keep you updated as this continues to play about. But I find that to be interesting. There's some other stuff, too, like from Foul Territory today that was also like really fascinating. We'll play for you in the next hour. We do want to get to the NFL in the next hour as well to recap what happened over the weekend. We got tons of football stuff to break down, from this weekend. Kalen DeBoer has committed to Alabama. Long term, we'll see if that's really the case in the future. And so a lot to get to in the later part of the show. But I mean, we just keep trying to keep you updated on what's going on around Major League Baseball, especially with the Padres. And it just seems to be like a little report after little report after little report on Padres and Mets. But we don't have too much time, but we do have enough time to do this. We did not get to it at the beginning of this hour, but we can get to it now. And that is the latest rumors from Major League Baseball that don't involve the Padres. There was a lot of things that happened. Merrill Kelly signed over the weekend. Dustin May had signed as well. There's a lot of other potential, what we thought could be fillers for the Padres now being off the board. Let's get to the latest on the hot stove, Frank.
Right. So there, again, as you mentioned, there were a lot of people that got signed over the course of this weekend, and they're not in where I thought they would be. So let me go to something else here. So this one actually came out today that the Phillies are finalizing a 1-year, $10 million contract with Adolis Garcia. The 32-year-old Garcia, whose blistering postseason helped lead Texas to the 2023 World Series, was non-tendered by the Rangers in late November following 2 substandard seasons. It's from Jeff Passan on ESPN. So Adolis Garcia now in Philadelphia, and it's going to be half the price of Nick Castellanos, who the Phillies are desperately trying to move.
That's a good move, I think, for the Phillies. I think it's a good spot for him. And as you mentioned, half the price of Nick Castellanos. It's a good add for an already pretty loaded lineup there in Philadelphia. Continue to add pieces. It's got Schwarber back. It's a big first move. Found the replacement for Nick Castellanos, who they're trying to get rid of. And we'll see how the Phillies play out. But right now, they got a lot of bats. They got a pretty good lineup, Frank.
Again, still from Jeff Passan. First baseman Josh Bell and the Minnesota Twins are in agreement on a 1-year, $7 million contract with a mutual option. This happened earlier today, filling a substantial need for Minnesota, which is funny because Minnesota needs pretty much everything at this point. Bell, a 33-year-old who will be playing for his 7th team, is a consistent veteran for the Twins, hoping to stabilize after a transformative trade deadline in which it dealt 10 big league players in a flurry of deals. So the Twinkies get a first baseman.
That's very much a Twins move right there. Like, Josh Bell signs on teams that want to show their fans that they are trying, but at the same time aren't really trying to compete. Where's Josh Bell signed the last handful of years? Washington.
Yeah.
I mean, think about the places he has signed compared to the places he has been traded to. I mean, if you're Josh Bell, you sign these deals with these teams that are non-contenders, and then you play well, you get traded to a contender. It's kind of a great little philosophy.
Yeah.
He signed with Washington in 2021 after playing with Pittsburgh, and he got traded to the Padres in 2022, became a free agent, signed with Miami, ended up getting traded to Cleveland, and then same thing last year. In 2024, Miami and Arizona. And then he signs back with Washington. I mean, here's what you need to know about Josh Bell. I think he's a good player. You want to know if your team's competing or not? If they sign Josh Bell, they're not trying to win. They're trying to show you that hey, look, we're trying, but they actually are not. They're not contending. Josh Bell knows the role that he is. He's the guy that signs on a bad team, and if he has a good year, he gets sent to a good team. No questions asked. You sign Josh Bell if you want prospects at the trade deadline. That's what you do to sign Josh Bell.
Brother, just get me to my 10 years so baseball will take care of me for the rest of my life, and I am good to go. The Kansas City Royals have traded left-hander Angel Zerpa to the Milwaukee Brewers for versatile left fielder Isaac Collins and right-hander Nick Mears yesterday. This is from the Associated Press. The 28-year-old Collins hit .263 last year with 9 home runs and 54 RBIs in 130 games. His first full season in the big leagues, he made 100 starts in left field, 6 in right, and 2 at DH, along with an start at second base. The Royals have been searching for an upgrade to their outfield for the past 2 off seasons, and this looks like they've done it.
Yeah, the Royals have been pretty active.
Yeah.
The last couple of days. I mean, they've made some trades and everything like that. So, interesting on the Royals front.
Sticking with the American League Central, the Detroit Tigers have agreed to a 1-year deal with Kenley Jansen. The deal, which is pending a physical, also included a club option for 2027. Jansen, 38, is Major League Baseball's active saves leader with 476 saves over his 16-year career. So Jansen going from the Angels last year now to Detroit for this year and possibly next if the option's picked up.
$11 million this year. 38 years old. Guy's still going strong. 15 years of service time. 16-year career, 15 years of service time. Kenny Jensen's had a pretty good career. Keeps bouncing. Hey, you know what? Just like what you said about Josh Bell.
Give me my 10 years.
Give me as much as the 10 years possible so I can rack in as much as I possibly can in the pension and keep this dream alive. And he's on a quota contender, right?
Yep.
With the Tigers.
Yep.
Assuming they don't trade Scooble.
This one coming in on Saturday, the New York Mets and infielder Jorge Polanco agreeing to a 2-year, $40 million contract. The Mets are expecting him to play first base and DH, which is interesting that they are going to start a guy who has never played first base in his life when they're trying to improve their defense.
Is it hard? No, it's not that hard. Tell him, Rod.
It's very hard.
It's incredibly hard.
I don't understand it, man. I don't get what this team is doing anymore this offseason.
I don't think it's that difficult to play first base.
There's, like I said,
for athletes.
Like I said, there is a gawky, ugly phase of every offseason and every build. This is the ugliest phase I've ever seen. Right-handed reliever Tyler Rogers is off to the Toronto Blue Jays on a 3-year, $37 million deal with a 4th-year vesting option. So another big signing for the Toronto Blue Jays. They were mad about losing last October.
They have been active for sure. They have now increased their payroll. Expected payroll right now for 2026 is expected to be $275 million for the Toronto Blue Jays. I bet you they continue to add.
I wouldn't be surprised.
A 3-year, $37 million deal with a vesting option at the end. I mean, they're all in right now. And they still haven't even brought back Bo Bichette yet.
Right.
Which they're trying to bring back, right?
Yep. Bo Bichette is still out there. Let's just run through some of these really quick. Third baseman Mikael Garcia and the Royals have finalized a 5-year contract extension.
Mike got traded there, right?
Yes. Mike Yastrzemski is now an Atlanta Brave for the next 2 years on a $23 million deal with a 3rd-year club option. The Pirates and left-handed reliever Gregory Soto are in an agreement on a 1-year, $7.75 million contract. And also Dustin May is now, I believe it was a St. Louis Cardinal for next season. So a lot of moves done, not just over this weekend, but over the course of the last couple of days.
I know, the morning show was talking about Dustin May. We've kind of briefly talked about him as like a reclamation project.
Yeah.
He's off the books now. But you know what? You might be able to get like a half a season at Dustin May at the deadline.
Yeah.
They don't have the did you say the contract details?
I believe it was 1 year. I think I saw 1 year, 7. It was up on ESPN yesterday. It's not now.
And it's not on the Cardinals payroll on Fangraphs. It
Let
says
me go to their team site here. I could have swore I saw 1 year, 7.
He's 28 years old. He's got a 1-year deal. I mean, he's on a team. That's another team that doesn't want to contend, right?
So the club has not confirmed the deal. Cardinals team is hoping to supplement its pitching staff. This is from our friend John Denton, friend of the show, John Denton. Dustin May on Saturday. Club has not confirmed the deal. It's just said 1-year deal.
Interesting. So no money yet, but I mean, you could potentially get him at the deadline. That's another one of those players that I think if he does well in the first half of the season, you trade for him at the deadline. It's not going to cost you a lot of money in terms of your overall payroll. Yeah. And Dustin May signed with a team like the Cardinals. It's a good spot.
More prospects for St. Louis.
Right, exactly. That's why they did it. 1 o'clock hour when we come back. It's 1 o'clock. You know what time it is. You know what that means. You know what that means, Frank.
It's time to not say Nate Taylor's name.
Oh, wow. That's rude. Rude.
Who knows? Maybe it is Nate's name today.
Congratulations, today's biggest fan. Today's biggest fan is Taylor McPherson. Close. So close to being Nate. It's not. It's Taylor McPherson in San Diego. Close. It's one of my favorite bits.
Oh,
the close
God.
bit. That was somebody else in the chat did that the other day.
Yes.
It's like, close. It was not me. So rude.
Samsonite. I was way off.
Today's biggest fan, Taylor McPherson in San Diego. Give us a call in the next 10 minutes at 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973, and you'll qualify for a grand prize, 20 tickets for you and your friends for a night in our Odyssey suite at a Padres game with all the fan staff later this season, catered by Spiro's Mediterranean Cuisine. Remember to register your name at 97throughthefansd.com/biggest fan. Taylor McPherson in San Diego, you're today's biggest fan.
Adam, why do you say that? You know they will. Like that's just Tuesday. That's not a curse. That's a normal day, man.
And then there's the Mets.
Exactly.
And then there's the Jets. I felt like the Jets, we were going to get to the NFL whip around in a second. The Jets had Brady Cook start at quarterback, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Making his NFL debut.
And he played so good, the defensive coordinator got fired.
He played pretty well in the first half, and then it just spiraled out of control. But even like the Jets, I mean, it was so bad.
And,
I got to read it.
Yeah, I was going to say, Adam is right.
This is what Adam said.
May the Mets get swindled in a trade just for that, which, again, fair. I should have read it, but that's, yeah.
Classic. Close. Taylor McPherson, today's biggest fan. All right. There might have been another clip I wanted you to play, but
no, I don't think so.
I think it's time to move on to the NFL.
I think it is as well.
Let's get to the whip around. All right. Week 15 in the National Football League. As we take a look at, we're getting down to the getting close. Speaking of close, we're getting close to the playoff time in the National Football League. We had a great week of games. Again, we talked about the game on Thursday last week, so let's talk about some of the games that happened yesterday. Big in fantasy, too. I got to say, I was a little worried about my team going against John Flint. I think John Flint is the luckiest dude that plays fantasy football. He was complaining on air the other day about his team. And he was like, and he was winning most of the time. And my team finally pulled it out in the second half. He had us in the first half, not going to lie. Got it in the second half. Outscored John Flint 153-142. I'm advancing in the fantasy playoffs to the next round to take on Chris Ello in the semifinal.
Nice.
That was the latest update on that. I'm trying to see if there's the other scores out there for the
keep this up because Taylor's just
97-3.
Keep this up because Taylor just called
that. I'm trying to find that they made this league. It's so hard to find the scores. Oh, there it is, scoreboard. So if you look at the scoreboard for the work league, or like half the work league, took down John Flint from KSON. Sammy Lev is currently beating Lori Ello.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Sam Levitt, the guy who didn't know half of the rules of the league and didn't know when the draft was, made the playoffs.
Fantasy football is basically all luck, dude. Is this your first time experiencing that? It's basically luck. I'm just saying, like, I think Sam has made the least amount of moves on the year. His team basically got auto-drafted, and he has had arguably one of the best teams in the league.
Bruh
is right. So they, if you look at the standings, he finished third place in his division at 9-5. But in the first round of the bracket, I went from like 1 to 6 after having to play Scraby for like the fourth time in a row. I don't know how the scheduling works with this, but I digress. But as the 6th seed, dominated the first round. 153 points in fantasy. John Flint had 142. Both out. of players for the week. So that's a final. Lori Ello tonight has 2 players, and Sam's got 2 players left. Sam leads 84-64. Lori has Devon Achane and Jalen Warren. Sam has the Steelers defense and Chris Boswell. This one might come down to the wire. Projected total for Sam tonight, 101 points total. Projected total for Lori, 99.7 points. Oh, we're going to be in for a doozy tonight watching the Steelers and the Dolphins. Let me tell you.
Boy,
Devon Achane and Jalen Warren versus Chris Boswell and the Steelers D. That's what we got going on in the fantasy league before we start breaking down the NFL. Matt Scraby and Chris Ello both had first-round buys. I will see Chris Ello in the next round. All right, let's talk about what happened yesterday in an on-fantasy standpoint of things.
Well, Shedeur Sanders had a full week to prepare for their next opponent, and it did not go well.
No, it did not.
As the Brownies fall to 3-11 after a 31-3 defeat to a team that is known as
The Bears.
The Bears continue to win.
First 10-win season, I think, in 8 years, I think it was.
I still think they're like
2018?
playing with fire right now. But you know what? You know what they are to me? They are the, like, in their own mind, like sunshine and rainbows and everything's great while the world burns around them. That's, I think, what the Bears are going to be. But you know what? We'll see. They're 1-3 in their own division.
Back in first place.
6-3 in conference. I look at their schedule throughout the year, and again, they're surviving. They are surviving. Beat the Eagles a couple weeks ago. That's a big win. Beat up on the Browns. Now, well, they got the Packers, Niners, and Lions left. All those teams are battling for playoff spots. Bears playoffs start next week against Green Bay.
Well, the Bengals playoffs ended yesterday as they played the 7-7 Baltimore Ravens, who
they got
we
their
said
ass shut out.
Yeah, who we said Cincinnati, if they wanted to keep any hope of their season alive, needed to win this game, and they very much did not. Ravens beating them 24-0.
I was a little surprised by that based on the way the Ravens had been playing, but the Ravens back into a relative playoff contention. They could use a win by the Dolphins tonight to put themselves tied for first place in the AFC North. Steelers are 7-6 with the game tonight. They're 3-1 in the division. Baltimore's 3-2 in the division. So Pittsburgh would have the tiebreaker as of right now, but a couple of games left in the season. That's going to be that's going to be a wild finish in the AFC North. And it's just the Steelers and it's just the Ravens, as we've had more teams get eliminated yesterday. Bengals got eliminated yesterday. The Titans, the Raiders, the Browns, and the Jets were already eliminated. And we had another team go down yesterday as well.
Yes, yes, we did. The Chargers taking care of business against the Kansas City Chiefs in KC. Chargers now 9-4.
10-4.
Oh, whoops, my bad. 10-4, knocking out the Kansas City Chiefs 16-13. Chiefs losing the playoffs after being in the Super Bowl last year and losing Patrick Mahomes to an ACL injury.
I think if his injury wasn't that bad, he wouldn't be playing anyway. They're out of the playoffs now. There's no reason to risk any further type of injury, but he's going to be out for a long period of time now. Chargers now a perfect 5-0 in the division. They got to finish the season with some pretty big games. They got the Cowboys next week, which they should be able to handle, but you never know. And then they got to go to Denver, which is a tough place for them to play. That's at the end of the season, and mixed in between, they got to play the Texans. I can see they're not out of the woods yet, even though they're in a good spot as the 5th seed at 10-4. Buffalo right on their tail. Houston right on their tail. Indianapolis with Phillip Rivers right on their tail. Ravens and Dolphins still alive in the AFC playoff picture. But you know what? It's a huge win for the Chargers. They sweep the Chiefs this year. It's the first time they've done it since they've been in San Diego. And how about that? You want to talk about pair to the NFL? Chiefs ain't even making the playoffs this year.
Yep, absolutely. And speaking of Buffalo, as you had mentioned before, the Bills were down massive to the Pats and come back and win 35-31. Just the third loss for the Pats this year. Bills now 10-4. a game separate them atop the AFC East. What a game that was in Foxborough.
As soon as the Patriots fans started popping off on social media, up 21-0,
Turn around.
Buffalo punched them back in the mouth. You know the people I'm talking about.
Of course.
You know the people I'm talking about. Too easy. Division's ours. Popping champagne. Got to play a whole 60 minutes, big dog. Got to play a whole 60 minutes. You gotta fend off Josh Allen.
I was in the Hartfield Atlanta airport, sitting at the gate, waiting to board when this game kicked off and when the Pats started to really tear it up. One of the maintenance crew, like a janitor, came walking by, and someone asked who was playing. He goes, "The Bills and a team in blue." After 28-3, I can't even say their name anymore. And they ended up, I mean, they were rolling at that point and then ended up losing that game.
How about Rod in the chat? Go rate that L, pizza guy. That's pretty good.
The Washington Commanders went into New York and beat the Giants 29-21. I watched this game on the plane. The Giants are a mess. They're hapless and hopeless. Giants fall to 2-12. They still hold the number 1 pick.
I know Wan'Dale Robinson did score a touchdown in that game.
Yes.
But as somebody that has Wan'Dale Robinson in fantasy, why does Jackson Dart hate Wan'Dale Robinson? I mean, when he plays,
Dart got hurt again.
When Dart plays, Wan'Dale is just like a non-factor. When Jackson Dart doesn't play, all of a sudden Wan'Dale Robinson is like a top receiver in the league. I'm gonna need some more Wan'Dale Robinson, Jackson.
Dart got hurt again, and they still
running for his life.
Playing him.
Running for his life.
Then let the offensive line kill one of the two old guys. Let them do that.
Poorly run Oregon, man.
I mean, come on. And they said they're not changing. They said they're going to run him out there again next week. Why? Stop it. Get some help.
I want to go back to the Patriots Bills. They're separate about a game, right? Patriots finished the season with Baltimore, which is going to be a big game next week. Then they got the Jets, and then they play Miami. As for Buffalo, they have Cleveland on the road. Then they got Philly at home, and then they have to play the Jets. They need to They need to outplay the Patriots by 1 game, right? I don't even know who's got the tiebreaker there, but they're right there in the division case.
They're split, and the Pats have a 1-game lead.
I got to see it probably goes down to division record, conference record, that sort of stuff. But that race is going to come down to the finish. All right, on to the next one. Speaking
of stop it and get some help, the Raiders need to stop everything and get some help as they got shut out by the I almost said
there it is.
Eagles! I almost went straight ahead and said it without doing the bit. Eagles now 9-5 after a 31-0 win.
The Raiders are awful.
And that game happened.
They're awful. I mean, the Eagles are okay, but the Raiders are awful. And Augie's right. They haven't been good since Al Davis was alive. It's true. That is the perfect example of like ownership of your team matters. That team will never win.
Nope.
The Bengals never win. Bad owners. Those teams will never win. They will find a way to ruin it for the team. That team will never be successful. You can't. Pete Carroll can't even come. Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly last year probably was the best offensive coordinator in America with the stuff he was doing for Ohio State. And I know he had great players, but the plays he was drawing up for Ohio State, unbelievable. Pete Carroll, one of the best coaches in football. Those two can't even get it done.
Yeah.
And Pete Carroll already fired Chip Kelly. That's how bad the Raiders are. It's ruining careers left and right.
The Jets ruining the career of their defensive coordinator, losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars 48-20. Jets 3-11, Jags 10-4. Solid season for Jacksonville. They haven't played a great schedule, but they've been doing what they need to do.
They've played a quiet 10-4.
Yeah, very quiet.
Very quiet 10-4. They're one of the best teams in the National Football League, and nobody talks about them because it's the Jags. they just continue to win.
Mm-hmm.
Very quiet, 10-4. Everyone's like, Trevor Lawrence, bust. 10-4.
Yeah, maybe not. The Houston Texans doubled up the Arizona Cardinals 40-20. Texans up to 9-5. Cardinals down to 3-11. We were really concerned about Houston at the start of the year, and they've really turned it around.
Houston's defense is badass.
Yeah. What were they, 1-4?
I mean, they've been able to do that. Yeah, they started off very poorly. CJ Stroud did not look very good. CJ Stroud's looked okay since, but they were off to a rough start. They had injuries at the beginning of the season. Got players back healthy, and now the Texans are battling for a division spot. I mean, look at the AFC South. Jacksonville leads Houston by a game and leads Indy by 2 games. I mean, Indy was the guy going to run away with this thing.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Indy's 8-6. Houston's 9-5. Jacksonville's 10-4. Here's the remaining games. We talked about Indy already. They got to play the Niners, the Jags, and the Texans. So they get to play both teams in front of them at least one more time. They got to try to beat the Niners on Monday Night Football. The Jags next week have Denver on the road, which is tough. Houston's got the Raiders at home. Then you look at, I mean, I can basically put it together. I think Denver's going to beat Jacksonville. I'm going to take the Colts at home against the Niners. And then the Texans have the Raiders. They're going to beat the Raiders. Then you go to the next week, and it is Texans Chargers. I like the Texans in that game.
Mm-hmm.
The Texans are good. And then you got Colts Jags. Colts at home. Let's just say the Colts win that game. You got the Jags at 10-6, the Colts at 10-6, and Houston at 11-5. I mean, this thing's going to come down to the wire.
Yeah.
It's going to come down to the wire. It's going to be fun to watch. I mean, we got a lot of these in realm for the NFL. On to the next one.
The Green Bay Packers fans, especially Micah Parsons fans, will be sitting there saying,
"Oh, the Denver Broncos."
After this past week, Broncos beating the Packers 34-26. Broncos now 12-2. Packers now falling a half a game out of first place in the NFC North. But the big news, Micah Parsons out, ACL injury. So 2 major ACL injuries yesterday.
Yeah, that's not good news for the Packers with Micah Parsons. That's a tough loss for them for the rest of the season. Packers defense was pretty good this year. That's going to be a massive, I mean, that's a void you can't fill more times than not. So We'll see how they do against the Bears next week.
Detroit Lions losing to the Rams. Rams clinching a playoff spot, I believe, beating the Lions 41-34. Rams 11-3. Lions 8-6. So having a very average season after their great year last year.
Yeah, they're really got their backs against the wall right now. Lions are 8-6, as you mentioned. They're the 8th seed in the playoffs, still hanging on to a playoff spot. In the playoff race. Rams got to clinch a playoff spot with that win. I think the Rams are the best team in the NFC. We've talked about all season long.
The Seattle Seahawks had a great chance to really have a great story happen against them, as Phillip Rivers had a return, a surprising return for.
This is our Colts. This is our team. We bleed blue.
Wow.
Colts
it's back.
Colts losing the game though, 18-16. I said after you had the emotional thing about Phillip Rivers, I said I would have it ready for you for this bit, and there.
New favorite team of the show.
Yeah, there it
the
is.
Indianapolis Colts. This lays out how dumb kickoff rules are in the NFL. Get the ball at the 30-yard line to play, and field goal range now is crazy. Field goal range is crazy for kickers in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes, like, getting the ball back with under a minute, you still have a chance. I mean, the Colts still technically had a chance with 22 seconds left to put the ball in a 60-yard range, which is stupid. The kickoff rules in the NFL are so dumb. I digress on that.
We got 3 more. Let's go through them quickly here. The Carolina Panthers at 7-7 now, losing to the New Orleans Saints, who are 10-4, 20-17. I want to know.
Saints are 4-10.
Dyslexics of the world untie.
Saints have been playing better with Slow as their quarterback.
Yes,
he looks pretty good. I mean, they've been very competitive, a lot better than we were at the beginning part of the year when they had Spencer Rattler, who might be one of the worst quarterbacks ever.
Tennessee Titans falling to the San Francisco 49ers, who are 10-4.
Yes.
37-24. Titans still 2-12. 3 teams that are now 2-12 on the year.
Titans suck. Moving on.
And finally, Sunday Night Football, the Minnesota Vikings beating the Dallas Cowboys 34-26. Vikings are 6-8. Cowboys 6-7-1. The Cowboys are just allergic to success.
They can't take care of business against inferior opponents.
Nope.
I mean, Minnesota got shut out. They looked incompetent against Seattle. I know J.D. McCarthy didn't play in that game, but they have looked incompetent against teams. And Dallas could not figure it out last night against Minnesota. Dallas is eliminated from the playoffs on Saturday if the Eagles win.
Dolphins Steelers tonight.
Loriello, Sam Levitt tonight. Fantasy football. We'll talk more about the NFL when we come back. Look at some of the playoff races here. This thing's going to come down to the wire, and it's going to be fun to watch. Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Sports Station 97 through the Fan. When we get to our midday sports standoff, we'll try to do that again tomorrow. We'll have 4 days to qualify this week. If you could take it down sports trivia, you'd be qualified for a shot at our grand prize. 2 tickets to New Kids on the Block in Las Vegas on June 26th. A 2-night stay at Park MGM and a $100 gas card. Calling all blockheads. New Kid on the Block just announced 2026 dates for their The Right Stuff Las Vegas residency at Dolby Live at Park MGM. Don't miss all of your favorite hits live in Las Vegas with New Kids on the Block, February to October 2026. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com.
We also did not get to our sports thread today, which is brought to you by, why is it not on
QC
this?
Kinetics.
Yeah, why is it not on here? It should be on here. Why is it not on here? Why is the read not on this on the read sheet? Hold on. Let me go back to another day. Scrolling through.
Rod, calling Charlie Brown the OG blockhead.
Is brought to you by QC Kinetics. Stop sitting on the sidelines. QC Kinetics get you back in the game without surgery. Learn how. Visit QCkinetics.com.
There you go. All right. Just since we have a little bit of time, let's talk about the NFL's kind of final 3 weeks. Steelers Dolphins tonight's got some pretty good impact in the playoffs. And you look at the playoff standings right now, teams that have clinched in the AFC. Denver's clinched a playoff spot. They'll be one of the 7 teams in the playoffs. They currently lead the Patriots by a game for the number 1 seed in the AFC. There are 6 teams eliminated from the playoffs in the AFC. Titans, Raiders, Browns, Jets, Bengals, and Kansas City now eliminated in the AFC. You got 10 teams battling for 7 spots. In reality, you have 9 teams battling for 6 spots. And then, of course, you have the division factors in there and throws things off a little bit. But that's where it is. So the Broncos, Patriots, Jags, Steelers, Chargers, Bills, Texans, Colts, Ravens, and Dolphins all competing still. Teams on the outside looking in right now, Indianapolis, Baltimore, Miami, trying to play their way into the AFC playoffs. In the NFC, the Rams currently have the top spot in the NFC. They clinched a playoff spot as well. Chicago, Philadelphia, Tampa, Seattle, San Francisco, Green Bay, all in a playoff spot currently. Detroit, Carolina, and Dallas trying to fight their way in. Dallas is hanging on by a thread. Their percentage chance of making the playoffs is like 1% right now. And I think it's only in the division, if I'm not mistaken. Teams eliminated from playoff contention: Minnesota, Atlanta, New Orleans, Washington, Arizona, and New York. The New York Football Giants. So that's kind of a look at the playoff standings. Now, in terms of, what do you think about this, Frank? I went through the playoff machine for the next 3 weeks, and there's some pretty big games coming up in the next 3 weeks. I mean, we're going to be off at the end of Friday.
Yeah, this is going
to be great.
This is going to be our last Friday with NFL regular season football
to talk about on the show.
Yes.
I think so, right?
Yeah. This would be week 16. Week 17, we're off entirely, and then week 18. We'll get the whip around recap of week 18.
Right. Not get the preview. I went through the playoff machine. This is how I think this is going to play out. I got the Broncos as the number 1 seed. Gross. Gross. So gross. 15-2. Which means they win out. I don't necessarily know if they win out, but I look at the remaining schedule they have. They got the Jags. Their 2 toughest opponents are at home, which is Jacksonville and the Chargers. I thought they could potentially lose to Kansas City on the road, but then I forgot Gardner Minshew is going to be their quarterback and not Patrick Mahomes. And I don't know, they're all out. Like, the team's out of it now. I mean, the NFL is close to battle and their division game and all that fun stuff. I just find it hard to believe that Gardner Minshew is going to be able to beat the Broncos. Let's say that they do. Well, the Broncos are still at 14-3, number 1 seed. Number 2 seed, I have the New England Patriots finishing 14-3. I have them just edging the Buffalo Bills and going basically 3-0 in their next 3 games. I think the Patriots can lose in a different spot too, but they got the Jets, they got the Dolphins, and that Dolphins game's at home, and then they got the Ravens, and I don't think they're going to lose to the Ravens. Maybe they do, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I got New England winning the division and getting the 2nd seed. I got Houston getting the 3 seed, finishing 11-6. I think Houston's good.
Mm-hmm.
I think Houston goes 2-1 in their next 3 games. I got them winning the AFC South.
I can see that happening, yeah.
Yeah, 2-1. Their next 3, they got the Raiders, they got the Chargers, and they have the Colts. I think they go 2-1 in that stretch. Then I get to the 4 seed, and I think it's the Ravens. I think the Ravens outlast the Steelers for a playoff spot. I got the Steelers winning tonight. I got the Steelers losing to the Lions. I got the Steelers beating the Browns, and I got the Steelers losing to the Ravens. As for Baltimore, they'll lose to New England. But then I think they get the Packers, especially with no Micah Parsons. Even though it's on the road, I think that's the biggest wild guess. And then the final week of the season, I think it's a winner-take-all game between Pittsburgh and Baltimore, and whoever wins that game in Pittsburgh is going to the playoffs, and whoever doesn't is out. That's the top 4 seeds in the AFC, and how I think this finishes out. I got Buffalo as the 5 seed at 13-4. That's the highest seed they can get if they don't win the division. I got Indianapolis at 11-6. I think they win their next 3. I'm believing in Phillip Rivers.
I just saw something here, Rod. They pay good money for new umpires. I think I saw somewhere here over the weekend the contract with the NFL officials is coming up soon, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's
a thing.
Yeah, that
Squirrel.
That's
Squirrel.
That's why Rod talking about umpires. That's what made me think of it. Which is also, I believe, that also comes around the CBA time too for the NFL, right?
I got Buffalo as the 5. I got Indy as the 6. It means nothing. I'm trying to finish
No, I
this.
know. You're right.
And I got Jacksonville making as the 7 seed. Do I have the Chargers going 0-3 the next 3? I do. Losing to the Cowboys, losing to the Broncos, and losing to the Texans.
Some men want to see the world burn.
The only game that's like a super reach is the Cowboys beating the Chargers. But I've watched enough Chargers football. I can see that happening. They lose 3 games, they're in trouble. And the thing is, Indianapolis, with Phillip Rivers potentially stealing a playoff spot from the Chargers, hilarious. That is what I want to see. That is what I want to sign up for. As a San Diegan, that's what I want to see the most. A Chargers epic collapse and then Phillip Rivers climbing his way through and making the playoffs. Are you kidding me? It's great. Anybody else see the infighting on social media with like the former San Diego Charger fans rooting for Phillip Rivers while current Charger fans are upset because it's like, oh, we need the Colts to lose. It helps us. Infighting. It's fantastic. I think Jacksonville's good too. I think they make the playoffs. That's my AFC. In the NFC, I still think the Rams get the number 1 seed. I think the Rams lose to Seattle on Thursday and still get the number 1 seed and win the division in the NFC. Because I think Seattle is going to lose later in the year. I think Seattle loses on the road to San Francisco at the final week of the season. Rams is the 1 seed. I got the Packers winning the division in the NFC North and getting the 2 seed. I got the Eagles getting the 3, winning the East. I got Carolina winning the South, Frank. And I think that game's going to come down to the last week of the season because Carolina's playing Tampa. And I think Carolina wins that game in Tampa to go to the postseason. I got them at the 4 seed. I got Seattle as the 5 at 13-4. Got the Niners as the 6 at 12-5. And I got Detroit sneaking into the playoffs with 11 wins. I think they win out and go 3-0 in their next 3 games and finish 11-6 and get the 7 seed in the playoffs. Detroit's got Pittsburgh, which I think they can beat. Minnesota, which they could definitely beat. And I think they get the Bears the final week of the season to punch their ticket. That's how I see the playoffs playing out. That's how I see the regular season, the NFL playing out. if we're in the predicting game. But if I was, I wouldn't have this job. I would be on a beach somewhere collecting a ton of money by getting all my bets right. I think all those are reasonable, though, Frank. They're not like completely out of the realm.
No. I think that's it. I mean, a solid prediction for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if that turns out to be 75% correct.
I'm definitely rooting for Phillip Rivers over the Chargers. I'd love to see Phillip Rivers play the Chargers in the playoffs. That would really make people lose their mind. You spelled my name wrong twice, dog. Charger fans trying to talk smack. Can't even spell. When we come back, what did Jim Bowden say about the Dodgers? He pissed off a lot of small market fans. We'll play the clip for you when we come back to finish the show. Braden Surprenant Show, San Antonio Sports Station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour 97 through the fans brought to you by Mission Fed. From first accounts to big life moments, Mission Fed can help. Savings shouldn't be stressful. Mission Fed makes it easier with great rates on some savings certificates and ultra money market accounts. Grow your money the smart way. Check the latest rates and open an account at missionfed.com. Membership and account criteria apply. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. People getting chills watching Phillip Rivers play yesterday. Was it his best game ever? No. Could you tell that he was 44 years old? Yeah, you could. But it's still fun to watch him play, check at the line, lead the team down to a game-leading field goal at the time. Defense got to make a stop, bro. Come on now. That was such a Phillip Rivers pick too at the end. It's like 20 seconds left, desperation mode, no chance, ball gets tipped, picked.
Well, you know.
I mean, come on. I saw somebody tweet. I was like, it must really be 2010. Phillip Rivers just ended the game with a pick just in time for 60 minutes. Good stuff.
I saw it so many times.
Good stuff.
This weekend, Phillip Rivers, Tom Brady, Tony Romo, and Drew Brees are all on my TV. What year is this?
Only one was playing though. I think it shows how bad quarterback development is. I mean,
yeah, no kidding.
Mike Mayock disagreed when I brought that up in their interview, but and he talked about the top quarterbacks. But even the top quarterbacks are not nearly as good as some of the guys that just retired. I mean, Phillip Rivers hadn't played since 2020. He went in there and put up points on the best defense in the one of the best defenses in the National Football League on the road with zero prep time. Some of the checks he made, I mean, and making moves at the line. I mean, you don't see guys do that well anymore.
I was stunned that he even played this week. Unless the playbook is somewhat similar, I would have guaranteed that he was going to sit down a week.
It is similar.
Oh, well, there you go.
So he played for Shane Steichen before. They have a close relationship, and he runs the Colts playbook at St. Michael's in Alabama.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
He's been calling that offense, a dumbed down version of it, I'll say, for the last 5 years.
So in
Alabama
makes a lot more sense.
So and that's why they brought him in, right?
Yeah,
they didn't bring him in because they thought he was the best potential retired player to play quarterback. They brought him in because he knew the system. He had played there before. He has a relationship with Shane Steichen. And they're like, this gives us a better chance than potentially having, Brett Rippon play.
He is our best option.
He is our best option. To have a veteran ready to go. I still think that probably is their best option to win playoff games.
That's to take 4 years off and then on 3 days notice, jump in. That's impressive.
I just think and it's funny because we've had Brett Rippon in studio, and he's a great guy, and he works out at Fitness Quest, and he's his wife's from San Diego. I mean, they Padres fans, all that stuff, and we talked about this in Guilt of the Morning Show into it when we were talking about it. But the reality of the situation is, and I go back to the Mike Mayock interview we had, Frank, about how he had this new after he was done being a general manager, he had a newfound respect for people's livelihoods and the decision making.
Yeah.
So, the people at the gym, including the people that own the gym, I saw tweeting out you got to give Brett Rippon a chance. Well, you know what? Here's what it comes down to. It comes down to, that organization has people that are relying on Brett Rippon to win a football game. And that's the difference between them moving their family or staying in the house that they're in. Moving their kids out of school or staying there. People don't understand that sometimes. The severity of, okay, are you willing to put everything on the line for this guy to win you a game? And the Colts were like, We trust Phillip Rivers more than we trust Brett Rippon in this particular instance. And this is the reality of the situation. Again, Mike Mayock brought it up. He brought up the situation with like the Raiders and how they came the couple of calls didn't go their way in that final game. They finished the season 10-7, whatever it is. The next day he gets fired.
Yeah.
And now he's out of a job, right? So this is people's livelihoods on the line when you start talking about different decisions that organizations make. Yeah, sure. Yeah, great. Give them a chance when it's in the middle of the season. But when you got 3 or 4 weeks to go and you're trying to make the playoffs and your job could be on the line in some capacity, the difference between your kids staying at school or having to pack and move to somewhere else in the other part of the country revolves on this guy being able to get the job done. Are you still confident in that guy getting the job done? If the answer is no, then we know you know the answer to the question.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with like managers and general managers in baseball and everything like that. These jobs and everything have a lot riding on the line. That's why they move all the time. I mean, when you watch the NFL and they show like any of the coaches are like, wasn't that guy just somewhere? Like those guys are constantly moving around. So when people ask me like the conversations about being in the media or being a coach, because I've had opportunities to coach at a higher level, the reality is like for me, and our industry is kind of the same. I mean, stuff happens.
Yeah.
But it's still a little bit more locked down than it is being a football coach. You could have just in that kind of realm. This is why these decisions to take all this money to leave the school that they're at, this is why they're doing this. And these guys have families and kids and like they're moving their entire lives for these things. This is why coaches are allowed to make these decisions. A lot of the college kids are just worried about that. They just have to worry about themselves most of the time. But there's no guarantee. Like, there's opportunities to go get more money and suit your family better. That's why they're leaving. But here's the other thing, too. As a football coach, like, you could be an assistant. Like, you could be a special teams coordinator. That's what I do, right? You can be a special teams coordinator. Your special teams dominate the entire year. Your coach gets fired. Guess who's also out of a job? You are. Or how about this? You do everything right. You like where you're at. Everything's great. Your head coach gets a better job or gets offered more money, and he goes somewhere else. Guess where you're going? You're either going there or you're going somewhere else because you're not coming back to the school you're at because they ain't keeping you. Crazy. That's what the world. That's the world we live in when it comes to coaching in professional and college athletics. They got to physically uproot their. This is what they signed up for. The same thing with. This is why these guys get paid all this money. Same thing with professional athletes. They get paid all this money because they got to move all the time. This is why athletes want no trade clauses and long-term deals so they don't have to worry about physically moving their family all the time.
Yeah.
But I do find it funny. Like, a lot of the times we give the benefit of the doubt to the players. All the time. Oh, they're just humans moving. Nobody ever does it for coaches. Nobody ever does it for coaches.
Oh, it's the same thing, though.
It is. It's the same thing, if not worse.
Yeah.
If not worse, how constantly you're moving.
Yeah.
You could be in a situation where you did okay and the general manager got fired. And the new general manager's like, see ya. I want my own guy. Seriously.
Can move somewhere and be gone before you even have time to register your car or get a new license.
100%. I was going to play that Jim Bowden article, but
that's
clip,
too
but
long.
It's too long. And too long and you know, he's just going to piss everybody off.
Should I just say basically what it is, or do you want me to?
You can say that quote part. I was more interested in the
context around it.
I'm more interested in the context around it with the Dodgers, which we'll play tomorrow.
Yeah, we can play it tomorrow. The quote that Jim Bowden had from this that's going around now is that Jim Bowden told fans. I'm trying to find the thing. I'm trying to find the quote now. Where'd it go? basically told fans of smaller market teams, if you don't like what the Dodgers are doing, just become a fan of the Dodgers.
That is somebody that doesn't understand what it is to be a fan. That's somebody that's not a fan of anything. Oh, do I need to pull out the rules of what it takes to be a fan? Because I gatekeep fandom.
No, you not now. You can't.
Seriously, though. Like, that's a guy that just doesn't have no feel. Just absolutely no feel on that particular deal. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This has been the Braden Surprenant Show for a Monday. Only 4 days left this week. Quinn and Chris coming up next. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 to the Fan.